This community is the cradle of professional football. When our heroes of the past become our legends of the future, and we all know time never really stops for the great ones. It reaches out and wraps them in a cloak of immortality. You know, it was in 1963 that it was on to Oakland. I was 33 years old. I was the head coach, general manager, and I can remember attack, pressure, the vertical game, the bump and run, just win, baby, dominate, commitment to excellence, the famed silver and black, pro football's dynamic organization, take what you want, pride and poise, the reborn players, the holy roller, the miracles of George Blanda, ghost to the post, the immaculate reception, the indestructible Jim Otto, George Blanda, the greatest clutch player the game has ever known, Willie Brown, the magnificent cornerback, Gene Upshaw, the only player who played the Super Bowl as a starter in the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, Ted Hendricks, the consummate linebacker. Fred Blitnikoff isn't with us today. He's a coach for the Raiders. 14 years, and I don't have to tell you about his artistry. And of course, the magnificent Art Shell, the giant head coach of the Raiders today. Tom Flores, a star player who coached us to 2 Super Bowls. You throw in Al Davis, and you've had as diverse a group as you could find in this world. And yet, there was a common bond. They played for the organization. They wanted to win for the organization. They loved their organization. And most of all, they loved each other.
And to the people and the community in Oakland, we're proud to represent you and we intend to hold it. I just want to say, 2 years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future. And with all the great teams we've had, I think today that this organization, this team, this coaching staff dominated so decisively that 2 things must be said. Not only, in my opinion, are you the greatest Raider team of all time, I think you rank with the great teams of all time that have ever played any professional sport.
Salute Raider Nation. Appreciate you all showing up here on a Wednesday afternoon, man. Got a lot to talk about. Salute to the chat. Salute to everybody that showed up here tonight. Salute to the mods, man. Salute to everybody. Appreciate everybody here on the panel. Just give a few shout outs real quick. I don't even say Dela Cruz, man. Appreciate you, bro. Richard Lyon, appreciate you, man. Frickin' Turtle Lord, appreciate you, man. Frickin' Rudy, Eric, Sergio, appreciate all of you. Wild Turkey, appreciate you. Like I say, outside of it, I think, Carlos, appreciate you too, bro, man. And appreciate everybody here on Instagram too, man. Got our Instagram going live tonight. Got our YouTube going live tonight. Heck yeah, appreciate it, man. Frickin' trying to use all of our platforms that we got going on this year, man. We got a pretty big following in Instagram, pretty big following in YouTube, TikTok, everything. We're just going to try to use them all this year, man. So outside of that, we're just going to hop into it. Basically, that presser today with AP and Tom, man, sitting up there is pretty fire. Presser. I mean, AP got a lot of energy. You can just tell, like, Tom, he can kind of carry himself a little plain, but AP, he's just, like, up and going the whole entire time, man. Like, he's got very high energy, man. he's a pretty good dude. I said it the whole time. Me and Sergio talked about it long before we talked about with Josh being fired before he got fired that it was going to be AP. I just like to say to everybody so people understand, like for Instagram or here or not, when we were in the middle of looking for a coach, I want Harbaugh. Like there's no doubt about it, and I have the right to choose Harbaugh. That's my right, just so we can understand it. And outside of it, AP's the coach, and we're going to support him going forward and the team that he builds and everything. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So basically, we'll hop right into it. I think it's Eric's topic. I think is the realistic expectations from AP and Tom, and basically talk about the presser shit like that.
Yeah. So real position for so it being realistic with AP and Tom.
Salute Ben, appreciate you.
I expect
Salute Howard.
I expect a way better product than we had last year. We had Ziegler and on him, picking, and Telesco. He didn't say it in the presser, but he kept at going a different direction with the offense, and it lets me know that that Aiden isn't the guy, and they're going to trade up because why not? If you're going to bring in a new offensive coordinator, which they already said they are, you're going to have to match the personnel. If you're going to Kingsberry, that's an air raid system. Caleb, Jaden, and Penix Jr. will excel in that level of an offense. For AP's expectations, I expect a way better showing than we had last year because he did great, for the position he was in, just thrown to the fire. Did great, and he did it on the fly. And you're gonna give him a whole year, a whole off season to work with these guys again. It's gonna be so good, so great. I mean, with Tom, I expect, like I said, a way better draft, no more reaching, and he's not scared to trade up for somebody if they're worth it. So if Aiden not the guy, you need to move and find the right guy for our team because we've seen you need a mobile quarterback to survive in this division. Period in the league, and they're gonna find the right guy. I'm expecting a way better draft. No more reaching, no more panicking. If we want the guy, Tom's gonna make sure he gets him. Even for our free agents, he's done pretty well bringing in good talent. Like I saw the video. Who put it? I think it was Raider Films. I put out a video saying how he found Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler. So he has an eye for talent. That's perfect. That's exactly what we need. If we're giving him a chance to watch tape, get with our scouts, and just go over, who's on the board, who fits the team. Will he be here round 2, round 3, round 4 at the pro day? Let's check out this guy, that guy.
Oh shit!
I feel more comfortable.
Eric, I don't mean to cut you off.
You said what?
I don't mean to cut you off, Eric.
You good, bro?
Patrick Graham has been reported to remain as the defensive coordinator.
That's good.
The defensive coordinator.
Yep.
Nice.
Oh, whoa! Now, sir, now just for that, you're keeping the core together. Means you're giving Patrick another offseason to work with Tyree, Kuntz, and Max, and whoever we bring in the draft or free agency. Keep the core together. And look what the team needs. We need cohesiveness. We need stability. Even Max said it. He wants stability. And we finally have it this year. We're retaining all our key pieces. Patrick Graham, another year, is gonna do great. And even though he had chances to go other places, but he knew right here was where it's at. And I'm for that.
Jesse, appreciate you, bro.
But that's it.
No, I agree, man. I mean, I think there's a lot to it, man. Sergio, you want to add on to it?
It is going to be scary, especially now that Harbaugh is a Charger, in my opinion. With that being said, with Tom, I was a little skeptical at first with it, considering how he did in obviously we're fans, so we don't know fully behind the scenes. Like, he did kind of come out of nowhere because we were told for like 2 to 3 weeks that it was a 2-horse race between Kelly and Dodds, and then Tom came out of nowhere. With Tom, so the interviewers, Vegas, ownership, what they said about Tom is that they are very high on 3 things: experience, scouting evaluations, and how he drafts. Those are the 3 things that they're big on him. The biggest one is experience, and I had to think about it more, and I do like the idea that Mark did. I'm going to give him big credit for that. Is if we are going to take this approach where an NFL coach who's only been an NFL coach for no more than 2 years is going to be the head coach, you need to put a team around him that we know that we're not going to be like pissing ourselves on. So it is a pretty good, like, safe bet to have someone who's been experienced in the GM spot. And this is the first time that Mark's done it. Any GM that he's hired has been a rookie GM. So this is a very different approach that Mark has been taking for the first time. And with Tom, I am excited to see it when the draft specifically. He is more on the conservative end. That could work out for us a little bit. And when it comes to scouting, I do think he is a really good scout who kind of didn't do well with mediocre to bad coaching staffs, because he honestly did, because like the media says it like every single year, like Chargers top 5, top 10 roster, but they never give that result in the season because injuries, bad circumstances, something happened, coaches get fired, something happens. So with Tom, I'm gonna be optimistic about it. Antonio Pierce, I mean, if we land, in my opinion, like an offensive coordinator like Cliff Kingsbury or something similar, I think that we've had a pretty great offseason so far. Because if we just get a guy who, I'm not going to say he is Dan Campbell, but I'll just say similar, and Patrick Graham stays, and then we get just say Cliff Kingsbury and Tom Telesco, and if Kelly's willing to stay, then this has been a pretty good offseason so far, in my opinion. So that makes my expectations a little not under, but kind of where it's at, a little bit more optimistic than last year.
No, heck no, I ain't gonna lie, man. I've been sitting here thinking about it the whole entire time. I was 100% for Harbaugh the whole entire time. There was no doubt about it. I just felt he'd bring the better roster. I said the whole time what roster he would bring. I called every player damn near to the T. The only one that hasn't been decided yet is Dodds yet going over there, but pretty much his whole staff, I already knew who he was bringing, so I knew that that's going to be a fire-ass team right there, you know what I mean? So I was hoping for him here the whole time, but once we had to settle, once we know it's AP and we were sitting there, I was hoping, all right, it's going to be Dodds or Kelly. I even said keeping them both on the deal like Ziegler would probably be the smarter idea. Outside of it, the second that Tom came available to us, I said he's the better option instantly, easily. People say, well, the coaching, this, that, hey, I don't care. The people that he's drafted, with the eye he has great talent, man. Like, he has great talent in that. So, I mean, and that's what we need to have going forward, not busting on first round picks or so on. If we're going to take a O-line in the first round, he's had success doing it. He had success picking up players and at all levels of the game. So, I mean, to me, I think it was a no-brainer to sign him. And I even knew there was something going on when they stopped it after Kelly and them, AP and them all got interviewed after that night and never announced them, So people kept on saying like, well, Kelly, they're going to let him go. Listen, Kelly already had a job with the Raiders to begin with. It's not like didn't have one. He was just trying to take the GM spot, but he already had a contract with us at the assistant GM. So if he reverts back and stays there, then he's more than welcome to stay there, you know. So it's his choice how it wants to go. And if we get Patrick Graham, that's a massive add to us now. Like, going forward, look, if we're sitting here going like, hey, our two coordinators can come down to Eric Benemy and frickin' Cliff Kingsbury, and you can have two really good type play callers that we can have inside the building that can coach this team with Devontae, we're going to be dangerous, man. We are going to be a dangerous team, no doubt about it. I said, even if Eric Benemy, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but when he came from Kansas City, went to Washington, I said he was the one that did the most with the team over there when he got there, and he did it with Sam Howell, all these other guys, you know, like he did a good job. Did they win a lot of games or no? Like, you know, but he did improve that team instantly with less talent. So if we're saying he can come over here, get a quarterback that he wants, and then he's gonna have Devontae, Jacoby, Tucker, all these dudes, like, yeah, I mean, he's gonna be, it'll be a dangerous team. But I strongly believe, in my personal opinion, even as much as like I like Zach Robinson, and again, this is just my opinion, he's never called plays. I believe he needs to stay in with the Rams one more year with McVay and get play calling under him so he can be protected by McVay and his play calling. And then if so from there it'd be all right. And then if we look at Kingsbury or we look at Benemy, Kingsbury would probably be the guy that would probably get a head coaching job probably the sooner, but come next year if he was to have success with this team. So for me, if we were to sign him and then go after Zach Robinson next year, because, you know, Kingsbury left and went to be a head coach somewhere, I think that would make more sense. But for me, I think it's a no-brainer. Like, I think we have two offensive coordinators we need to most definitely attack, and it needs to be Cliff Kingsbury, and it needs to be Benemy if we're going to try to do the best with this team coming up. I mean, we've already got a great roster here, and especially with Marvin Lewis, all these dudes popping up. What's that dude's name? Tom Delaney, because people keep thinking like, oh, it's going to be him that's going to sign the contracts and this. It's not. We already have a guy that does it. He's going to stay doing it. So I think it would just be smart. Why they brought him here is just to draft people. I said he has got
Tom
great.
Telesco.
Yeah, Telesco. He has no. It's the guy for our team that signs contracts for us. But long story short, he has great talent evaluation, and that's what matters at that position. So if AP and them are the hype that they say and can carry that into this year with all the people that they're starting to put around, and it's something, you know, that Sergio talked about later about the other people we've added here just in the last, you know, few hours and so on. But like I said, I mean, we got a pretty dang good team going forward right now, roster-wise. And, yeah, I do get it that the Chargers, the Peyton and Reed, they're all great coaches, and they're all going to have great teams. But somebody's got to lose at the end of the day, and even as good as they are, they're going to lose amongst each other too. So I've said we'll probably be in the hardest division, no doubt about it, in all football. I mean, I said this scenario would pan out in this type of form. It's just crazy to even sit here and say that Harbaugh and his squad's going over there, Sean and them. But again, we're not putting together no slouch squad either. So I think it's going to work out pretty well. And outside of it, I think with AP and Tom talking today, Tom said it's going to be a team deal. Like, it's a team deal relationship between them. So they're going to be communicating and how they're going to build the offense and defense, man, with the energy and how they feel. So I think it'll be a good deal. So
He also
really,
heavily emphasized that he doesn't want the Raiders to, like, adjust to him. He wants to try to adjust to how the Raiders are. Like, how the culture, how the team's built, how the coaches are. Like, he doesn't want to force them into his vision. Like, he wants to try to adjust, try to mesh together, which they did report that they had Tom and Pierce meet. And obviously Pierce said out loud that he was kind of teasing Tom a bit about the 63-21 game. And trying to like bring out more Tom's personality. So Vegas. That's also another thing that Vegas said, that they seem that it's going to be a good relationship by the way that they saw Tom and Pierce together compared to uh, Dodds and Kelly.
Nope, I agree. Rudy, you have anything that you want to add to it?
Yeah, I'm thinking right now though, with like you're saying, Tom Telesco, he could be more like a Mike Mayock. Mike Mayock didn't like change the culture either. He went for mostly drafts and signing free agents. That, I guess that's just what Tom Telesco could be, just like another Mike Mayock. And I got nothing against Mike Mayock. I thought he was a pretty good GM, but you know, I think right now though the dictatorship right now is the offensive coordinator of who we're going to have as an offensive coordinator. Because if we have a mediocre offensive coordinator, we're not going to be winning games. It doesn't matter what we put around the team. You can have the best chess pieces and still not be good at using them. You have to be able to use those chess pieces. And Andy Reid, he had like the worst wide receiver core in the AFC West, yet they still won the AFC West, and they won a playoff. And it's going to be crazy, for us to try to dethrone the king, which is Andy Reid. But it's going to be dictated on who we're going to have as an offensive coordinator. We got the defense and everything, but I think it's the offense we just got to build up, the quarterback and the play caller. That's what's going to determine how good we're going to be.
Heck yeah. And then just by the way, if anybody hasn't checked out Real Men Are Raiders YouTube channel, man, make sure to go to his channel, subscribe, man, puts out great content, everything, pretty good dude. So make sure you give him a follow on Instagram and YouTube. Outside of that, really do appreciate you showing up. Thank you. No, I mean, I agree. Outside of it, I really do think, like, for us, I think the way that they're starting to build the team, it seems like it's going to be, or coaches wise at the moment, it's going to be people that are really badass at each individual position and pretty dang good at their job. So that's even going to go through the other coaching staff of people we've let go and hired already. So appreciate you, Pizzle. But outside of it, I mean, I think for me, like I've said, I mean, the AP deal is always questionable still, no matter what kind of staff you put around them. But to be putting people like Marvin Lewis, you got Tom, then you're going to have Patrick Graham to stay with that defense. I mean, the offense is going to be questionable. He said in the presser, man, like they're going to be picky on it. They're going to, make sure that they pick the right people for that spot. So I'm really hoping that they do, and that's why I'm hoping that it's going to be somebody like Kingsberry or somebody like. As much as I've said in the past, I don't think they would hire Eric Ebenemy. I've heard otherwise. That they would hire him. So I guess we're just going to have to sit back and wait on that. But I mean, if they're willing to hire him, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I would take him, dude. He's good. He's got great play calling. He's good. So I would most definitely take him.
In my personal opinion, it's gonna be either Robinson or Kingsbury. In my opinion, like out of all the candidates that they have so far, that they interviewed, that they scheduled to interview, it's Robinson or Kingsbury. Because Kingsbury, obviously, it would be part of the trend that we're seeing. Experienced coaches who have been in the highs and the lows, staff members who've been in the highs and the lows, give AP some more knowledge, give players some more knowledge. Kingsbury's been a head coach. He's been around the league. He's been in college. He's been in the NFL. It would make total sense, and it'd be pretty good for us. Robinson's connected with the team. He's connected with Marvin Lewis. He's connected with the coaches on the staff. He's from the Sean McVay tree, which is pretty good, despite not officially calling plays. So with everyone else, it's kind of questionable, but Robinson or Kingsbury is kind of the only two people I'd be comfortable with that they brought in so far.
Yeah, Robinson's got a very successful. I mean, he comes from a very successful root tree of Sean McVay. I mean, I've said it. He's aggressive, dude. But the only problem I have with him is he's just never called plays, and it's just too much to take a whiff on a guy that has never called them. Like I think the smartest thing for him is to stay there and be call plays. Like if he calls plays, people are gonna want him everywhere. And don't get me wrong, man, he can go somewhere and everybody's got to start somewhere. I get that motto, man, but I just think like I get when people say that, but it's like when you're looking at the people, like I was saying again against frickin' Dan over there, pitcher, he's got frickin' Taylor and them. He had Brian and them. They all got offensive minded people above them. If this guy comes here, who's above him? Nobody. There's nobody above him. So that's like saying he just knows it. And for me, I think the way that this offense is going to roll, we don't have those offensive people over there already. So I think it would be smarter. It'd be smarter for me or for us to most definitely get a guy like Kingsbury that knows how to run the offense by himself without having to have people watch over him, And I mean, if he gets the right people, he'll be dangerous, especially with Devontae Adams. I've said that he would be probably, like you're right, the best one out of it for sure. There's no doubt about it. So, you guys have anything else that you want to add on to it, or?
No, I'm good.
Nothing I could think of.
So basically, somebody over here on Instagram just wants to know how you guys feel about how do you guys personally feel about them hiring Tom?
I'll go first. I think I feel pretty. I don't want to say worried or good, but I'm just going to say pretty neutral about it because I'm going to try to compare. When it came to Ziegler, I was very excited about it. And then because I think Ziegler was still pretty great, it's just him being biased with McDaniels over every decision kind of bummed me out. With Tom, though, not being connected with AP in a way, I kind of enjoy it. And I also like it. He is experienced over a decade's worth of experience. So even though, like he said, he's going to try to adjust with Pierce, adjust with everyone, he is going to heavily have his input with Pierce, with Kelly, like when it comes to the drafting or players that they should trade for or sign for. Like, and I'm going to like that, especially if when Kelly's staying here and Kelly was an interim GM for half a season. I think it's going to mesh out pretty well than we're going to expect.
No, I agree. I mean, you can go, Rudy.
Yeah, I think that it's a good move. I think I would have said he would be the second or third best option. He's going to be, like I said before, a more of a Mike Mayock guy. He'll be more of a draft picker. He can find talent and everything. He's not going to be a guy that'll take control. But let's put it this way: Ziegler was the same way. He didn't take control. I mean, if he wanted to, he could have told Josh McDaniels, "We're getting C.J. Stroud," and that's the bottom line. But he didn't do that. Ziegler was supposed to be more in control, but Tom Telesco is not going to be with more power like that, but he's going to be more support, more like in free agency and the draft mostly. That's all he's going to be, and I don't have a problem with that.
No, I agree. I mean, I think he was a good ad, man. If you're just asking me, I mean, people can get in their feelings about where he came from and Chargers. If you have looks like that, it's just crazy. I mean, there's also a narrative going around that Quentin Johnson's a bust, and if you go take his stats and compare him to Tyreek and Henry Ruggs, one, he's on pace with Ruggs and going to be on pace with him going to year two. I keep saying like Tyreek had 500 yards, but he also had 20 plus more receptions than Quentin Johnson did. And then Quentin Johnson's he wasn't brought here to be brought there to be a starter because they have theirs. He's just he's a replacement receiver,
Not only
So
that,
I
but
think in the next year or two he'll most definitely pick the hell up. So I wouldn't sleep on that dude like he's just some slouch. So
not only that, but isn't like doesn't every Raider fan know that whenever a Charger comes over to us, they're 10 times better, no matter who they are? It all started with Al
That is.
Davis. He was originally a Charger, and then so on forth. Just whenever we bring in a Charger, they're just 10 times better with us.
No, and they could. And I mean, he has an insight, and it's one of your topics, so I think we'll leave it for later. Eric, you want to answer? I don't know if you want to answer on the AP and Tom deal, but a guy over on Instagram, he did bring up about how you feel about us hiring Tom. What's your opinion on it, and what's your opinion on the hire with AP?
Uh, but Tom, it's I wouldn't call it a home run. Uh, it's more like it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. You know, just, it's got to get past, the whole bias. Rival, rivalry aside, he's pretty good at drafting. Pretty good at drafting. So you can't you can't be so negative about it. And with AP, that's a home run anyway. That was guaranteed. Yeah, even Marquez said all the candidates already knew that AP had the job. So it's just keeping the nucleus together. That's how it should be.
Yeah,
So
no, I
yes.
agree. I agree. I mean, do you guys think like what do you guys think he's going to bring the most to the team? Like, what do you think is going to be his best trait for our team going forward?
Best trait. Ooh, that's a good one.
Definitely scouting evaluations.
Same here.
Yeah.
Scouting evaluations, and I think if I can try to say something other than drafting, I think he can also bring in personnel evaluations on the team, especially on offense and defense. Because not just with drafting, but with trades and free agency expectancy, I mean, he brought in J.C. Jackson and Khalil Mack in one season, and if they had anyone other than Brandon Staley as the head coach, that would have been a fire team.
No, I
Because
agree.
I
I
fully
mean,
blame Brandon Staley for messing that one up.
I will not disagree. I mean, if you had a good coach behind him, man, they could have been a very dangerous squad for dang sure. I mean, that's what Staley was there for, and he failed at it. I mean, you can just tell. Raheem Morris was the guy that should have got the credit and got that job over Staley, but they ended up giving it to Staley. So I think it was a disappointment. But outside of it, yeah, with that squad, it's like I said, even somebody that can't coach can win with it. So imagine what Harbaugh is going to do with it, you know? So um, here's another question, you guys: is do you guys think that that Tom is going to bring? Like, do you think he has somebody in mind that he's been scouting all year that he may want to scout for us now?
Most
I was
definitely. I
thinking
do think if
maybe
it comes to
Bo
QB,
Nix. I think it'd be
if
Bo
it's a
Nix.
quarterback, in
I tell
my
somebody
personal
ain't gonna be
opinion,
it ain't Bo
by
Nix.
QBs like that he scouted, I know Eric's gonna hate that I'm gonna say this, but
Go ahead
would
and
you be
say it.
shocked if he drafted Bo Nix?
I will
I
be
would.
shocked. Yeah, I'll be shocked. You drafting basically a super senior. I'm cool. Say some
Super seniors are good
say
quarterbacks. You
that
know,
don't always pan out the best.
they're
But
ready. They're ready to play right now. They don't need to
And he's only
develop
20,
in
what,
time.
22, 23. So, I mean, I'm not understanding the
That's
whole
still a
age
young
deal
guy.
because, yeah, he's most definitely young. And not only is he young, he has the most college games played. He's the most pro ready quarterback. I mean, he's very successful. He had hella touchdowns, a hella few interceptions for sure. I mean, this dude ain't no slouch. He most definitely can play ball, and he's played ball at the highest level ever since he's got that opportunity to play there. So I mean, we got to be realistic going forward. I mean, I get it. A lot of people are going to make up these fake, scenarios, clickbait videos, things like that. But look, let's be real, dude. The Chargers or the Bears, if they're going after Caleb, they're not giving up the number one overall pick. The fucking Washington, they're not going to trade off the number two pick. and New England ain't going to trade off the number 3 pick. So just can't see it. I think they're all going quarterbacks, and I think that's how it's going to be. And I think we're going to have to most definitely sit back and put in reality that is it worth giving up a lot of draft capital to jump up in there to pick up a quarterback when we can probably sit at 13 and one just come to us and not give up anything? I mean, if you're getting a guy like Cliff Kingsbury that knows how to coach quarterbacks, had the pedigree to do it throughout his career, he's done it with Manziel, Patrick Mahomes, Murray with the Cardinals. I mean, he's no slouch about his record with quarterbacks. So you're telling me if he gets a guy like Bo Nix and look, it can probably just be anybody, to be honest. I mean, if he's the one picking it and that's the one he wants, he's probably going to have decent success with them. So, and not only he was in college at USC, so you most definitely know he's been scouting other quarterbacks around. So it's not like he's just going to be picking a guy he has nothing, like he doesn't know, you know. So I've just said to sit and think like we're gonna go trade the farm to get up into 1 and 2. I think that's just dumb. I think it's dumb as hell. I mean, they've even said like Jaden can go to Washington. So I mean that would be like calling up Washington and be like, yeah, you don't take Jaden, we take him. You take 13, we'll take 2. And they're like, yeah, you're dumb as hell. Like it's not gonna happen like that. So like I said, I think at the end of the day, we got to be realistic. I mean, if we want to trade up to like 8, 9, 10, you know, give up a first or something to get up there, deal like that'd be the smartest thing, especially with Tom. Why would you want to sacrifice all Tom's first round picks going forward in the future? They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. There's no way that they're just going to come in and be like, yeah, go ahead and jeopardize your first 4 years or 3 years or first round draft picks, man. I mean, that's why they brought them here. So I can't see that happening. I'm just going to call it. I think they'll be realistic about it. I think they'll try to stay somewhere between 8 and 10 and see where what players go in there. So, and I mean, again, there's going to be a lot of good quarterbacks in this year's draft, you know. So, but outside of it, do you guys think that there's like an actual position that he values more in the draft than another? Anybody study that or anybody know that or no?
He is actually very versatile when it comes to it. He has never really repeated positions since 2013. The majority of players are linemen on like defense and offense, so he really believes in building the trenches. And like that wouldn't surprise me if, say, he drafted Newton at the 13th overall pick, or maybe traded up a pick or two to get ahead of the Chargers if they wanted him. Like that would be a very good expectation as like the 13th overall pick. For other players, like he's only traded up twice since being a GM, and I think one was for a running back, and that was Melvin Gordon, and the other one was, I think it was a linebacker. Yeah, it was a linebacker. It was Kenneth Murray. Kenneth Murray was the linebacker he traded up for in the first round. So he would be conservative in the first round, and that would probably be my expectation with Tom, if that's the go-to in the first round, is just who's the best player available at like maybe 2 picks ahead of me, 2 picks behind me, the pick where I'm at. It would probably be like a corner or a lineman, in my opinion.
Do you think it's going to be a corner or lineman that he's going to target for us in this year's draft?
In the first round, most likely. I
didn't mean to cut you off. What were you saying?
Yeah, if say that him and Pierce are like, they're agreeing like, yeah, there probably isn't a chance we're going to trade up for the top QBs. Maybe try to see if Penix falls to the second or close to the second, or maybe try to get the other tier quarterbacks. Then we're probably going to go corner or lineman.
Do you guys have any in mind that you think that he'll bring up?
You mentioned corner. I've seen mock drafts. They're talking about taking on Kool-Aid. McKenzie.
What do you guys think about him?
Wouldn't be a bad
nice
wouldn't be a bad
size.
pick at 13. Just that game in Michigan, yeah, Tate wasn't all that good, but you know, but Kool-Aid at 13 would not be bad.
I don't know.
Do you think?
I
Oh,
like Wiggins.
Wiggins is pretty good, and when you watch Kool Aid in when uh, Michigan played him, he didn't even play well. Like, is he one of those players that when you play against good players, you're not gonna show up? Like, I mean, in that time, you would think you would want to have your best games. That'd be when you would want to show up the most, man. And I mean, he just seemed like he wasn't a factor, is what I would have to say. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I mean, I get it. I like the guy that you said, Sergio. I mean,
Wiggins.
he's pretty nice too. He's actually really nice. So I mean, I don't know. I think, like I said, I think as we get closer in the next few months, man, we're going to be able to see more and more of how they're probably doing things. Do you guys think that he's going to swap out the um, scouting team because that's Ziegler's and them? Like, Ziegler got good scouts. So do you think he's going to try to keep some, or do you think he's going to try to bring his own people up in there?
I do think he's gonna keep some because Ziegler had really good scouting department, in my opinion. Especially when the UDFA's pure example of how good Ziegler's scouting department is. If you can get that many good UDFA's in 2 years, I think Tom is going to take highly in consideration for Ziegler's scouting department.
Yeah, and I
I
mean,
think he'll
oh,
probably
go.
keep them. I think he'll probably keep his scouts. And originally, Ziegler kept some of Mike Mayock's scouts too. So, because Mike Mayock, he was responsible for getting guys like Mad Max Crosby, Malcolm Kuntz, and even Divine Diablo. But eventually they'll keep those scouts, and then he'll eventually replace them. That's what he'll do. He'll use what he has until he gets something better.
Yeah, no, that is true. So let's just talk about something like this. Like, let's just say this scenario. A lot of people are saying that they want Jaden. Jaden, you're gonna have to trade up into you're gonna have to get somebody in the top three to give up their spot, like most definitely. And then if they're
Or
saying that it's gonna go to Washington, you're gonna have to trade to Washington. So from 13-2, like let's just say 13-1. Like, just say because you have probably more connections with Kelly and them. Uh, so just say 13-1. Like, are you willing? What is it going to take? Like, in your guys' mind, what do you guys think it's going to take? I mean, like, I get the CJ Mosley deal. We were at the 7th pick. We could have most definitely pulled the trigger on. I agree 1,000%.
nah,
Everybody
yeah,
knows that
me and
they watch.
Dustin, our pitch was that we traded
Yeah.
Jacobs.
Yeah, I've said the whole time, man. I would have gave up 2, 3 first round picks from 7 up there. I mean, I'm not going to lie. So, I mean, what I would ask is, going around the panel, start with Eric. What do you think it would take from 13 to 1 or 2, like, to be realistic to get that spot to get him?
That high, a king's ransom,
At
a
least four
king's
first
ransom,
rounds.
literally king's ransom. At least two first. That's just a conversation starter. Probably
I'm
two
gonna say at
first,
least four first rounds in this QB
four.
class.
Ooh,
The
Yeah,
okay.
fact that the Niners traded 3 first rounds at one point, it's going to be
yeah.
4 at least in this QB draft class, especially considering that in picks 1 to 10, at least 7 of those teams in the top 10 pick need a QB.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. I think people are going to be shocked how many quarterbacks are going to come up off here at one time. You know what I mean? Like, you have Atlanta, and I'm not going to sit here and say like people are advocating like, oh, they're just going to take them in the first, because you do have higher valued players that you could. You have higher valued players that you can probably take at those spots. I don't know if they'll just get in a quarterback frenzy like that because of the fact that some of these some of these teams can trade back in and either from the second to the late first or trade up into the second, So I don't know if it'll get all crazy, like they're all just going to go after it. But I mean, let's just be real. You are right about that. You are right about it, Stats, that there are a bunch of teams up here that do need quarterbacks. And I've said it a bunch of times. People can sit here and talk shit on Bo. Bo is going to slay it, dude. Like, I don't give a shit. Bo's going to slay it. He gets on the right team, he's going to murder it, dude. He goes to Sean Payton, he's going to murder it. Like, he's going to straight murder it. So that guy is not a slouch. And I mean, if we're just being real about our team and trying to help out Devontae, getting him the ball, making big plays downfield, being accurate, throwing players open, he can do it all day long. He can do it all day. He did it all year. He's done it for the last few years, And all I'm trying to say is like, we have to be realistic about having quarterbacks that are not Jaden unless we're willing to give up massive capital or players. Like, you have to think about the guy at 1 or 2, right? So if he's sitting there saying like, okay, you want to give me 3, 4 first rounds, but I don't get a player until 13th pick this year, and I want a player, you know what I mean? Like, what if they're like, I want to add a player in here, and then their player is like a damn good player. So I mean, I don't know. You got to be careful about how you're going to trade up there, because they're going to try to throw in dumb shit like either Max, or they're going to throw in Devontae or somebody of those factors. And if you're going to make that sacrifice, you got to think, okay, you go get the quarterback, but now you don't have Devontae. So I just think it would be smart. It'd be smarter to look at a quarterback that's more around our area, so just don't hurt our team, or trade up in there where we can get still a good guy. I'm just telling you, unless some miracle happens that we can trade up there and give up, it's just going to cost so much, just to be real, it's going to cost so much. I'm just be real. So, I mean, if you guys are down for it, if that's what it is. And then when we go the next few years, we just got to hope that this guy can draft from second round on, or trade players to get back into the first round, so it's going to get real risky at that point. And if he makes the trades right now, like, let's just be real. If he makes the trades right now, and let's say that he makes his first round picks, or trades his first round picks for the next 2-3 years, well, he's going to have to easily start at 3-4 years, just like you said. So the real point is that, do you think that we have the success right away? So then when those first rounds aren't in the top 10, top 5, that they're in like 30, like 20, 26 to 30, like that's when the picks wouldn't matter. I mean, in that point, I'm not going to say they don't matter. I just don't think it would hurt us as much as giving people a top 10 pick, 3 years, 4 years in a row. Like, I'm cool on that shit, dude. Like, with Tom, I'd rather let him pick that for the next few. So, but I don't know how you guys feel.
On here talking about Jer most likely being available. How would you guys feel if we got Jair Alexander in the free agency?
I don't know, Rudy. How would you feel?
Jared Alexander. I don't know if I've ever heard of him.
The defensive back for Green Bay.
For Green Bay,
Jair,
I don't think too much. We had Douglas one time. I don't know if he's still with Green Bay, or he was on our team and he went to them and he did better. But I'd rather not get a free agent from a NFC team when it comes to defense. We've learned our ugly lesson that way, but they play differently when they go from the NFC side to the AFC side, and it's a lot different. But I'd rather just go for it. It's hard to say what veteran corner we have. I always thought, like, even though he's not a corner, it was Harmon. He was more of a safety, and we should have kept him for a little longer. But it's really hard. I'd rather draft a corner. We got Jack Jones, or I'm hoping we keep him still, because I think he only has a 1-year contract. I'm not sure. But you have him, and then
he's still on his rookie deal.
Oh, then
who is?
We'll have him for a while.
Jack Jones.
Jack Jones. Oh, we traded him for his.
Well, yeah, we got him for 2 more years after this year contract, and then we can extend him because he's an AP guy, so he's most definitely going to extend for sure.
Yeah, We can move.
So here's
We can keep Hobbs as a nickelback still. You know.
here's a
Keep Hobbs as a nickelback still. You know.
Hobbs has got his contract coming up. Kuntz got his. Frickin' and Meek. You got all of these guys. His contract's coming up right now. So let's start with Eric. You there?
Yeah.
All right. Here's a real scenario that could happen, and these are two great corners that you can pair up with Jack Jones. So we'll start with you. Go to Sergio, to Rudy. Which one would you rather have? Alexander or dude from the Bears, man? What's Williams or
Jalen. Jalen
Jalen?
Johnson.
Yeah,
Jalen.
Johnson. Yeah, yep. 33. Who would you rather have,
Can't
and
go wrong with
why?
either. Can't go wrong with either. I mean, Jalen was legit shutdown corner. Jair got exposed this season a lot, a lot. Uh, I'm going with age. So, Jalen Johnson.
No, heck no. I think I mean he's nice, man. I'm not gonna lie.
He's
Sergio,
nice.
who do you pick? Who do you pick and why?
I think right now, when it comes to like the up and coming, like I know it's mostly being big news right now because Alexander is connected to Devonte Adams and stuff. But in my personal opinion, like if you want like the more up and coming, Jalen Johnson, in my opinion, especially with the trend of this team, and how AP definitely takes it personal when it comes to getting guys on the defense, mostly guys that are connected to the Raiders in some way, especially Jalen Johnson being a Raider of his own. I mean, the dude's from Fresno himself, so Pierce would definitely take it personal. But yeah, Jalen, he's on the up and coming right now. Alexander, not saying he's gonna deteriorate, but age is definitely a factor in the secondary.
So you would take Johnson too?
Yep.
Rudy, who would you take?
That's going to be a little hard for me because I don't know them too well. Green Bay, I think they're more defensive with their linebackers than their corners, but I think with Chicago, they're more of a defensive team. To be honest with you, I wouldn't really want to take if I had to really take which one. I'd go with the Chicago corner a little more because he's more of a defensive line, a little bit heavier. And if you get a veteran older
Captain
corner,
Jack, appreciate you, bro.
it's not a bad deal. It's you can have him mentor a younger DB, another corners. I mean, just like Harmon was doing, he was mentoring Trevon Merrick, and there's nothing wrong with that, But yeah, I'd go with the veteran a little bit more, especially when you're having a lot of young guys. It's good to have a veteran, have them on a short deal, but don't pay him very much. Just like Eric Allen did for Charles Woodson. If you think about it like that, Eric Allen really helped Charles Woodson out, because Charles Woodson was full of talent, but he had to transition to the NFL, and he transitioned very well with Eric Allen. So I'd go with a veteran a little more. Veterans are good teachers, and younger guys, they're not going to help a young DB. They'll be more than mentoring. So I'd go with the veteran on Chicago.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, man. If you're telling me Alexander Johnson, I'm taking Johnson all day. That dude's nasty as hell, dude. He's aggressive, dude. He's a little ball hawking bastard, man. Like, I would love to put him in a Raiders outfit, dude, and then put him with Jack Jones out there and see what we can do at the corners, because I really truly believe if we can get two good corners like a Jones type player on the opposite side, I mean, we're gonna be a dangerous team. It's hard enough to throw at Jones. Imagine if you had two people with that type of mentality. So, I mean, I'm all for it, and I would put the money for it. I mean, I've said we're going to probably have to look at the safety position, which is the next question that we're going to go to right now. Is like, what do you guys think about Trayvon Moore. Do you guys think that he played well enough to stay here? Epps is going to hit free agency too. So are we keeping one, getting rid of one? Are we keeping both? Like, how do you guys feel? And we'll start with Rudy. Like, how do you feel with going with Epps? Do you want to keep him or no? And Morick, like, how do you feel about both of them?
Well, it's easy. Epps, he's had injury prone. He's kind of not real big for a strong safety. I like a heavy hitting strong safety, kind of like Jonathan Abram, but with better coverage skills. Because Abram had good hitting ability, but he just didn't cover well. Although he did improve under Josh McDaniels with Patrick Graham, but we ended up getting rid of him anyway. But uh, I would, I think Epps, he's more expendable. Trevon Merrick played his. I think he had a good rookie year when it was under Gus Bradley, and then when his second year, when it was with Josh McDaniels, it just looked bad. But then last year, he was doing better. I think Trevon Merrick, I would not get rid of him. He's got good size and he can play both free and strong safety. I always liked Trevon Merrick. I still do. I think that he just wasn't doing well, and it wasn't just him; it was all the other players too. I think that a lot of people just don't give him enough credit. If you had to move on from someone, it would be Epps, not Trevon Merrick. Merrick's a little bit younger. He's big, physical, 6'2", 205, free safety, strong safety. I mean, if you can move him into either slot, but he's got good ball skills. He does. He can catch that ball. Good vision. He does fit a little bit more of a zone safety than man to man, but he's very physical. I would not get rid of him. And he did have like 2 or 3 interceptions. I'm not going to say he's going to be a Pro Bowl safety, but I think he's good enough to stay as a starter.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think Morick, man. I mean, a lot of people don't give him the credit that he deserves, but I mean, this year the way that Patrick Graham used him, put him around all around the whole entire field, man. Played him down, played him up, played him inside, played him outside. I mean, he used them all over the place, and Morick did play pretty well all over the place. I mean, I don't. What did he give up? I mean, I don't even think he gave up very many touchdowns. I want to say it was just one.
I think
I don't think he
somewhere
gave up any.
he said he only gave up one.
Yeah, I think it was just one, but outside of it, I think like when you're looking at his production that came from Graham, he's a big bodied player in that backfield, dude. Like he's a big boy. He ain't messing around back there, and I think he's only going to get better. So for me, I would like to keep Morick, and go forward with him for sure. Epps is a question because Epps is a hard one, man. I mean, I think you'd have to look out there and see who else is out there. Can we get somebody that's more versatile with our team, that plays better with our team? I mean, Epps had good game moments, and then he had really bad ones too. So for me, I think the way I'd answer that one is just go to free agency, who's there, and then if nobody's there, then talk to him about coming back. But Sergio, how do you feel, and how do you feel about it?
I think one thing though is I'm really glad that Morg was able to adapt into Graham's system, and that Graham was able to adapt to Morg, because it was really disappointing how Morg fell off in his second year. Because his first year, him and Hobbs, they were literally the best rookie, in my opinion, the best rookies in their position. Morg, out of any safety, playing the most snaps with the least amount of targets. Like, he was literally the Sauce Gardner in that position during his rookie year. No one would throw the ball at him. He was just so good at coverage. And then first year in Patrick Graham's system, it all kind of fell apart. And then now it seems like it kind of rejuvenated. It went back into it. In his rookie year, he was only targeted 24 times, and he played 1,200 snaps. This year, he played, I think, a little under. I think he played, not a little under, I think he played 1,100 snaps, and he was targeted about 40 times. So it's kind of showing that, like, it's coming back, because the season before that, he played 900 snaps, and he was targeted like 50 times. So it's showing that he definitely improved a lot this season. And if he can do it again, if he can just build off of that, and then just so like, hey, I'm back to my rookie self, my old self, I can keep going, then yeah, I'd be excited for more again. I would definitely like to see a contract extension.
Heck yeah, me too. Eric, how do you feel?
Uh, Von Merrick, he's improved. He's proved. I wouldn't say he was a shutdown corner, but I mean shutdown safety, but he held his own. Because I remember his sophomore year, he had that sophomore slump where he was getting burnt, dropping pick sixes, bad. But he's improved. Like he's literally the definition of like slow progress, and he's earned it. If it's time for a new deal, I don't know his market, but he's earned it. He's earned it. He's finally living up to the hype that he had at TCU. He's playing great.
So somebody over here in is that all you wanted to say about it, or
And I know that was it.
all right? So somebody over here, he said, well, Ozzy said, Mark had three, have to keep more. Long story short, somebody in Instagram can't pronounce his name over here. Just wants to know. So, do we draft? Are we drafting a quarterback, or are we looking for a veteran? Like a lot of people keep on bringing up is that Russell Wilson can be targeted to our team if Cliff Kingsbury comes here. Do you guys believe that or no?
No, I don't believe it. Problem with Russell Wilson, the only thing I don't like about him right now is that he's old and he's short. I mean, if he was young and short, then that wouldn't be a problem. The another thing is that does he fit in the system? He's a West Coast guy. I don't know if our offense is going to be West Coast. With Kingsbury, I don't think it's a West Coast offense. But I wouldn't go with Russell Wilson. I'd go with a guy like Kirk Cousins, but I'd only go for him for like 1 year or two, but with a small contract, because to be honest with you, though, Kirk Cousins is brittle, but I think Kirk Cousins is a little more precision than Wilson. Wilson has to get out of the pocket and throw that ball and everything, and we do not have a good O line for a guy like him. We need to go with someone who has better precision. And I'm not saying that person has to be all pocket. If they're more balanced or something, they could throw in the pocket and out of the pocket. I'd be happy with that. But with him, he has to go outside the pocket, and he's showing some wear and tear. I understand people say, "Well, keep him as a mentor," but he's not going to mentor any rookie wide receiver. So I would not go with Russell Wilson. I go with a Kirk Cousins or maybe even I hate to say this. This might sound a little dumb. Maybe Andy Dalton. But Danny Dalton for a 1 year, he'd be a mentor, but he would not be like necessarily the starting quarterback, though. That's what I would do.
Do you guys think that he has a year to, like Devontae and everybody has a year to wait?
I don't know. I don't. I just don't think. I just don't have confidence in. I think that with a good coach, yes, Russell Wilson can be a decent quarterback, but we don't know how good our staff's going to be. He may not be a good compatibility to him, but I'll tell you something though, he'll struggle a lot more than Jimmy Garoppolo if Russell Wilson's on our team. I would not want to take him. I would want a quarterback that's better than Jimmy Garoppolo. I think Kirk Cousins would be better than a Jimmy Garoppolo. But at the same time, I wouldn't want to keep him for a long term. And because of the fact that Kirk Cousins is brittle, I think his value has dropped. If he's more durable, he's a true starting quarterback. But because he's very brittle, I would not want to sign a big contract for him. But with Russell Wilson, if you do get him and you get him for 1 year, it's not a bad deal, but I don't think it's a good move. but it's not a bad deal either. It's a less risk.
Sergio, how do you feel?
With Russell Wilson, I don't trust the idea a lot, especially since Wilson's the guy that, like, because I do agree, I don't think he is a mentor QB, despite his age and despite where he's at in his career. Though I do think that if we sign Wilson, he's going to want to be the starter, for one, and then two, he's going to want to take out, like, every anger out of Sean Payton. So he's going to be like, give me 4 years to go toe-to-toe against Sean Payton. But when it comes to, like, the original question of, like, getting the veteran or getting the rookie, when it comes to the veteran, I mean, Devontae Adams said that he'd be intrigued getting Wilson or Kirk Cousins. For me personally, those are both risks because Kirk Cousins at his age had a major injury, the tear on his Achilles.
Yeah.
Wilson, I mean, I already explained on Wilson. So if you want to get a veteran QB that's going to teach a rookie or maybe mentor the rookie as a starter or a backup, I wouldn't go for those options. I would go for more like a Gardner Minshew because Gardner Minshew, Anthony Richardson, after he got into an injury early in the season, Gardner Minshew surprisingly helped the Colts still have a very competing season. And he'd be probably willing to mentor whatever QB that we have.
So, and who did you say was going to probably be willing to mentor the quarterback?
Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, that'd be a good guy, and he's got good energy, and he's a good player. So, I mean, I would not disagree against that for sure. Eric, how do you feel about it?
No. Rod's cool, but it's the age and just, and but it's the culture fit. Like he doesn't fit the Raider culture, and him and AP would basically would clash. Personalities would not match. Like only thing that would benefit is that we'll see Sierra at a Legion. So, you know, only benefit. Let's get to Sierra, and then wrong with that, and then wrong with that, and then wrong with that at all. I mean, hey, if I could see Sierra at MGM on the strip, cool with me. But as far as his play, no, no. His best thing, he wants to start. You said his best bet: go to Atlanta, go beat out Desmond Ritter, and who's the other guy? Taylor Heineke. Beat them out. That's his only shot of being a legit starter still. Because he comes here, he's gonna be competition, and he wants to start like you guys said. He wants starter money, and Atlanta got starter money. They got boatloads of it. So why not? Why not? Pass
That is
on
true.
him.
That is true.
Yeah, pass on him because there's so many other options. Even with Kirk Cousins, I mean, it's Kirk Cousins. I mean, I can't really trust him either because the man falls under pressure and is injury prone. But Gardner Minshew, like Sergio said, will be a much safer, less expensive option. If you want to be really cheap, Tyrod Taylor. If you want a mobile quarterback.
Tyrod Taylor, that's what I was saying the other night too.
Tyrod Taylor, yeah, that's a good pick. I wouldn't mind Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Tyrod would probably be a good option. I mean, he's had good success in a lot of places he's gone. If we just got to that point, that's all I would say is to. I mean, I would not be like, yeah, let's go get him right now. You know, let's sign him up as our starting quarterback. So, no, I would not say that. But I guess at the end of the day, we'll just have to wait and see what quarterbacks they end up deciding to go in free agency, which ones they go in the draft, and we're just a few months away from it. It's crazy, you know. We're already almost there again, you know. So outside of it, we'll move on to the next deal, which is something I want to know is like, how do you guys feel about like Kuntz, man? Like, how do you guys think they should address Kuntz? Like, do you think in the short amount of time that Kuntz came in and got to play, and how much he got, like, sack production, how much he got after the quarterback pressures, things of those factor, how he helped out Max massively. Like, it became a whole different factor having him on the opposite side and playing at his level. So how do you guys feel like for the Raiders, is it a critical contract that they need to sign? And not only if it is, how long and how much do you guys think? And Eric, start with you.
How much? Uh, mm, I say maybe somewhere around maybe maybe 6 to 7 mil a year. Or you want to be really cheap and like stretch it, maybe pay him maybe 5 to 5.6 mil a year. I mean, just based on production. But if we're going based on just this year alone, his quote unquote contract year, it's a little boost. I say maybe what, maybe 4 years. I don't know, like maybe 4 years, 34, 35, but make it heavily based on incentives. So if you get a sack total, if you make the Pro Bowl, if you're nominated for DPOY, just make it heavily loaded with incentives. Because he's earned a contract, a good deal, but an affordable good deal. That's team friendly.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. If you give him that contract and then put it incentive based like that, for sacks and stuff, the production would probably be a pretty good idea. Sergio, how do you feel?
I think he should be the starter on the opposite side of Max. I think he's earned it because in 9 games he had 8 sacks and 3 forced fumbles. Now it's definitely an overreaction, but could he have had a similar amount of sacks as Max if he started week 1 on the opposite side of him? Could be an overreaction, speculation, a what if. I do think I want him to definitely be the starter on the other side of Max this upcoming season. And I do think if he can build off of what he did and say he gets 10 plus sacks, maybe 12 plus sacks between there, 10 to 12 sacks, if he can just do that. And he is a 3rd-round pick, so that would probably earn him maybe a contract where it's like 8 to 10 mil a year if he can build off of this year. And since his production is pretty low, he's not gonna. I don't know if he can't really demand for like a high contract that seems unreasonable. So the negotiation would most likely be on our side, where it's like, we know that you have this talent, we know that you can do this, but we only seen a year and 1/2 of it. So would you be willing to like take more of a team friendly one? We're still going to give you a good deal, but in order for us to like see more of you.
Yeah, that's facts. And like, so are you saying, like you said, about 8 mil is what you said?
About like, if say like this next season, if he can get over 10 sacks or over 12 sacks, about between 8 to 12 million a year.
8 to 12. So, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think that'd probably be right around it, and I think it should start out one and end up another. And I think, like you said, if it starts out at 8-9 million to protect our cap, and then we go throughout the year, and he does equip to 10, 12, then it does give an incentive to have a 10 or $12 million contract, and I'm 100% for it. You know what I mean? So outside of that, I would have no issue with it. So Kuntz is a beast, man. I said it from day one. Since the minute that we drafted him, I projected him to us. I knew we were going to get him. I mean, I liked him a lot. The fact that Graham let him go and the production that he showed up here, I mean, I'm all about that guy, all about it. So if you're telling me that we're going to get him between $8 and $12 million per year, and we can lock him up for the next 4 years with Max, I would 100% do it right here tomorrow. He's been healthy the whole entire time. He's been only getting better and better. You don't got to really take a gamble on him because you already know. I mean, he's been here the whole time. You know who he is. Like, the production-wise, being that every down for the whole year is the only thing we don't. But let's be real, from the second that he came in the game, he'd been slaying it. Like, he ain't even looked back. So, like I said, I would most definitely try to go after him heavily in the off season. What do you think, Rudy?
Okay, sorry, I was muted. I think that I would go for a team-friendly deal. He's a number 2 edge rusher, opposite of Mad Max, and I agree with Prizzle that Josh McDaniels had been suffocating him. I'd give him like maybe a 6-year deal, a 6-year, $6 million contract for like maybe 4 million. I mean, for 4 years. That would be fine. And if he puts up more sacks or turnovers or anything like that, then he gets bonuses. He helps a lot with Mad Max Crosby. In fact, is that when Mad Max gets double teamed, he gets to the quarterback, and then the quarterback is forced to run towards Mad Max, and Max gets him. You've seen him where Patrick Mahomes didn't see Mad Max, and Max just pounded Patty Mahomes. And in Kuntz's first rookie year, he sacked Patrick Mahomes 2 times in one game. He's got a lot of pass rush in him. He's people call him the mini Mac. He's not a real big defensive end. People like to put him as a linebacker. I call him a hybrid defensive end / linebacker. But we play the 3-4 defense and the 4-2-5 defense, so it's a hybrid defense that we have. But most of the time we're 4-2-5 defense. And Malcolm Kuntz, I think you've got to really sign him. I think it's hard to find a guy to replace him. You're not going to find a guy on the roster to replace him as a number 2 defensive end. You just aren't going to get that. I'd say you got to sign him. He's a young guy. Sign him. He's not going to be expensive.
No, I'm not gonna lie. That was probably my favorite sack this year. Was when I swear I thought we were gonna get a penalty for it because how it looked, where Mahomes didn't see Max coming right behind him, and Max just knocked freaking Mahomes' freaking ass off, and I thought he knocked him out. I thought Mahomes wasn't gonna get up just because how hard he hit him.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, and you got to think he's gonna be with Max in the off-season training, just like Tyreek's gonna be. I mean, they're not gonna be sitting back slouching it up, dude. With AP's energy, everybody coming into the building. So if you guys don't have anything else you want to add to this, I'm gonna add just one more thing to it. And if you guys don't have anything to add to that, we can move on to the next deal. Is that, do you think there's anybody else offensively or defensively that is a crucial sign that we have to sign going into the offseason?
Well, besides Kuntz, I'd say Hobbs is pretty crucial, especially for using him as a nickel back for blitzing and everything. I still think he's a good player, and in case of outside corner getting hurt, he can move to the outside DB. But, I still would rather keep him in the nickel, but he's a guy I would crucially keep. I know there's Divine Diablo, but I think you could replace a guy like him. He's not a bad linebacker, but, he's very replaceable. So far,
Salute Yonder.
I'd say we're pretty good, though.
Oh, heck yeah. I mean, I agree. Nate Hobbs most definitely needs to get retained for sure. We most definitely need to sign him. What do you think, Sergio?
I think, like, on the offense specifically, I would think of, like, the linemen, like Andre James. I think Andre James is a free agent this year. And I don't think Colton Miller is this year. Maybe it's the next offseason. But with the offensive line, um, there's definitely going to be big evaluations on there, like Van Roten, Jermaine Illuminor, Thayer Munford. Not that Thayer Munford needs a contract extension, just if he should be a starter or not. Andre James, if we should bring him back as center or put Parham as center. Should we keep Parham at the guard position? Especially with since Carmen Brasillo left, it's going to be very scary how they're going to try to see how to evaluate this O line. I'm hoping that whatever offensive coordinator they bring in, that the coordinator has knowledge into how to build the O line or has knowledge in how to find staff members that can help build the O line. But that's what I see as crucial.
So, do you think that? How do you feel about the Nate Hobbs? Like, do you think they should have to? Do you feel we should re-sign Nate Hobbs or no?
I think we should.
Yeah, I think so for sure.
I think even though it's just, I just hope he's not injury prone.
I'd probably do like another year contract or something. And that way, if he gets hurt, we can just be like, all right, or 2 year with a way out in the second year. You know what I mean?
I'll give him a year or two contract and be like, listen, man, if you can't stay healthy for a season, I can't keep you.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I feel too. Freaking, but he has good energy, everything. So, like, before we again go off of here, how do you guys feel about they're going to address the Renfro deal? Do you think Renfro stays? Do you think they cut him? Do you think he adds to the team, or is he going to hold back from the team? Like, how do you guys truly feel about it going into this next year? I mean, are you going to hold on to him and hope that we get yards with them, or is it just time to cut bait and move on?
If we're smart, we should just let Renfro go. If you look how the season went, Tucker was wide receiver 3. Like, Renfro had minimal like reception and targets, yet he was still rated the highest in drop rate percentage. Like, Renfro just can't catch anymore. He just keeps dropping passes. And whenever he catches, he fumbles or he just keeps tripping every time. And then when you look at the yardage, I think him and Tucker have like the same amount of receptions, but Tucker's gaining more yards and he has more touchdowns than Renfro. I don't even think Renfro even scored a touchdown this year. So Renfro, and we're paying Renfro like $12 million a year, I think. Like, I'm not paying him $12 million a year to play as wide receiver 4. Like, you have to cut ties with Renfro. Whether it's a trade, a cut, whatever.
And it only costs us something like $5 million if we cut him anyway. So I think it'd probably be smart if we can't get a trade with him, just to cut him so we can use the spot for somewhere else and not be held back by what he's done with Gruden and them. It's just not the same with what we're doing right now. So, and I'm not saying if you don't get a good quarterback, if it won it, but I don't think it has anything to do with that. He drops the ball, he fumbles, he gets concussions. I mean, it's been just one thing after another every time he gets the ball lately. So, I mean, I like him a lot. I would wish him the best. But, I mean, I just think when you got a guy like Tucker, I would rather try to exploit him next and see what he can do. And if there was some way we had Daniels, I'd rather see how he can throw the ball downfield to Tucker versus trying to worry about where Renfro. But again, that's another deal. So what do you think, Rudy?
I kind of disagree a little bit. I think that like you were saying earlier, I've listened to people. Hunter Renfro was doing better when he was under the Gruden system because he runs his routes. When he's running these ridiculous routes, and Renfro did improve under AP because he said he was running on eggshells under Josh McDaniel's system. You know, it's not that he fumbled one time this year or last year, but on a crucial play. And when we look at that one play, it multiplies by 5 times. We'll say it happened a lot more. And he has small hands. He could catch the ball. It's just the problem is the quarterback's ability to see who's open. That's where I have a little problem with Aiden O'Connell. But that's not just with Hunter Renfro. It's the other receivers. And yes, of course, Trey Tucker looked a lot better, after Josh McDaniels was gone, because he was being suffocated with Jimmy Garoppolo, because Garoppolo was throwing those high, weak passes. But Aiden O'Connell does throw the ball a little bit faster. But I don't look at Trey Tucker like a Henry Ruggs. Ruggs was more like had better speed, better hands, and was a lot more agile, more shiftier. But when you look at like Trey Tucker, he's a little bit like he's actually a lot more like a Tyreek Hill. But you throw a ball really hard to him, it's like his hands are weak. But if you throw a deep ball to him, he can catch up to that ball and catch it with easy precision. The only thing I don't like about Tucker is that he's a little bit smaller than Renfro. He's 5'9". Renfro's 5'10", but he's a lot quicker. I'd rather like to see Trey Tucker be used in the punt returns, a little more. I don't want to see Renfro returning punts. But if we move on from Renfro, I don't think it would hurt the Raiders that bad, mainly because we have Jacoby Myers, But I think that if we're not going to utilize him right, yes, he should be traded. I would rather not see him get released. But, if you trade him, I'd trade him to the Saints. Let him be reunited with Derek Carr. You might get a 3rd or 4th round pick or 5th round pick. But, Trey Tucker's not a slot receiver. He's a deep ball threat. He's not a real good inside runner like Renfro is. And Myers is more of an inside runner than Trey Tucker, too, because originally Jacoby Myers was a slot receiver when he was playing with the Patriots, and now he's transitioned from slot to outside number 2 wide receiver. So, I would say that I like Renfro. Keeping him wouldn't hurt the Raiders, but getting rid of him really wouldn't hurt the Raiders either. But, I would say that if there's a good compatibility, they might keep him. I don't know if they'll really get rid of him. I think Josh McDaniels was definitely trying to get rid of him just because he wasn't doing well with the routes he had him running, And, but I'll say something. If you utilize Hunter Renfro better, he's really good. He's got good body motion when he catches the ball. But sometimes he could try to do too much, and that's not what he needs to do. But that's not really that's a little thing that could be corrected, though. But, he is a small receiver. Like I said, you don't want him to do too much. He could fumble the ball really easy because he's got those small hands. I was always a hard critic on him in his rookie year, and then Hunter Renfro did prove me wrong. He was a better receiver than I thought he was. So, I still say I wouldn't get rid of him, but if you do, I'm not going to get like extremely butthurt from it because he is very replaceable.
Oh, heck yeah, man. And I just want to take a second and give a shout out to everybody that came through on Instagram. There's like massive people who's come through that deal and looked at that or watched us through there. So, I mean, we're going to try to use Instagram going forward, man, to help out our YouTube channel and our growth within our community and everything else like that. Like I said, finally got a way to be able to put that up on lives every single time now. So, again, like I said, we got to try to do things in 2024 that can build our platforms all over the place. I've already said our Instagram page is just taking off massively, dude. Our YouTube's taking off. Our Discord, every platform we got is taking off. I mean, just give a shout out to a few people. It's going to be like, I mean, I can't even say some of these people's names, so I'm not even going to. I mean, Savage, Stacy Savage. I mean, Mr. Tucky Yo, Brian Beck, Arm, FB JD Mafia, Texas 8044. I mean, appreciate everybody, man. I mean, they can go on and on for a while in there. So, I mean, really do appreciate all you guys stopping by on the Instagram side. Really do appreciate everybody on this side, stopping by in the chat, all the mods, everybody on the panel, everything like that. So basically, here's another conversation. A lot of people are asking it over here. I've seen it over here too on the YouTube. So, like, what do you guys think about Josh Jacobs? Do you think that the Raiders need to sign Josh? And here's the other question: is not only do you think that they should sign him, do you think that AP wouldn't? If he, do you think AP, since he has a job and he's talked about him so much, do you think it's a lock 100%? And then, if so, how much do you think we have to pay him?
Jacobs better keep his word and take the team-friendly deal that we'll offer him, because if Zamir gained more than half of the rushing yards that you produce in way less games, that's definitely going to take a jab at Jacobs, and especially Zamir showing what he's capable of doing, and Jacobs showing what he did this year, taking a bet on himself after fighting for a contract that we should never have given to him. Then I don't think we should keep Jacobs. I don't think we should. I think, for me personally, if we do, he better take a team-friendly deal and we draft a running back and build off of that. And then if we don't keep Jacobs, we should still draft a running back and build off of that. Because I don't want to go through a whole nother offseason where Jacobs is like, I am the best, even though I obviously didn't play as the best, and I want over $10 million in a contract, even though I'm obviously not going to get that. Like, no, he did that already. He didn't practice with the team. He didn't show up to practice camps. He didn't show up in preseason. He chose himself over everyone else, and that's what it got him. And I don't really care if it's the McDaniels or not. With a freaking QB coach, Zamir balled out, and even Brandon Bolden balled out in some games, and Amir Abdullah. Jacobs, with any coordinator we had, Bo Hardy, Josh McDaniels, this year was just, he had his moments this year, but overall it wasn't that great.
Well, I slightly disagree, but you have to understand it was Jacobs' agent said, no, don't. When you don't have a contract or anything, they're going to tell, agents are going to tell their players, because if he gets hurt, then that could dictate what they could pay him. And even though it was a franchise tag, it was an ongoing game between his agent and Josh McDaniels and Ziegler. So it's not always that way. And you have to understand, running backs don't usually last more than 5 years. Jacobs has had over 1,000 yards. We've never had running backs with over two or 3,000 yards rushing. And remember, he went a long games. Zamir White, yes, he looked impressive. He looked like he was a little improvement. I would say it's too early to rush him in and put him as a starter and then get rid of Jacobs. I think that'd be a huge mistake. I said it before. McDaniels didn't utilize Zamir White very well. I thought Zamir White was good on the outside runs, but you gotta, if you do get rid of Jacobs, you gotta have someone that can truly replace him. Zamir White is not an every down back. He's more of a number 2 back. One thing about Jacobs is that because he's got a bigger frame than Zamir White. Zamir White's only 210 pounds. Jacobs is 223 pounds. He's a little shorter than him by 2 inches, but when he's low to the ground, he could take guys down. He could drag people. Zamir White can only drag people once he gets his kickers in. When he passes the line of scrimmage, that's when he's hard to take down. Jacobs is actually hard to take down even before the line of scrimmage when it comes to DBs and linebackers, and I've seen Jacobs take down a defensive tackle. He straight armed him and he went down to the ground. The only problem with Jacobs is his durability, and it's because he's been pounded too much by. I would say that we should use both Zamir White and Josh Jacobs. And like I said, Zamir White, he is doing better, and I like Zamir White. I wouldn't get rid of him, but if you're going to get a replace Josh Jacobs, I would not release him. I would try to trade him. I do not want the Chargers to get him because he's better than fucking Eckler. Eckler only had 600 yards rushing. You add Jacobs to that area with Eckler, they would be a dangerous duel. So I would recommend, if you're going to get rid of Jacobs, you trade him. But I think Jacobs will go for the a team-friendly deal because of his production, and I think $6 or $8 million per year. If he goes a 2 or 3 year deal with 6 to 8 would be a good deal. It's very friendly. If he's asking 13, yeah, then I would trade him, but keep him away from the AFC West. That's all I'm saying. Do not put him in the AFC West. He is a threat. He's very difficult to take down. I've seen him where he should have lost 3 yards, and he ended up gaining a total of 6 yards, which is actually a 3-yard gain. So, I like I said, he was suffocated by Josh McDaniels, and so were the rest of the players. And yeah, he was hurt. If he wasn't hurt, he would have had 1,000 yards rushing, just barely.
He's always hurt.
Well, he gets hurt because he's getting pounded. If you use they didn't do the dual back situation. I mean, if they'd done the dual back situation, he would do better. He's taking a lot of.
Here's something you guys got to think about. Do you think with him missing the games that he missed, what was it, like 4 games at the end of the year? Do you think with him missing those games, is he rehabbing when he goes into this off season? Is he going to rehab and train, or do you think he shows up like he showed up last year? And then, like, when you have all those thoughts and all those deals, do you think he's going to do it because he likes AP? Like, do you think we have a stronger reaction from Jacobs wanting to work and dedicate himself to get healthy because of AP? Like, do you guys feel that or no?
That's the whole.
I kind of do,
because I don't trust him.
I understand people. I kind of think he do, because when he was injured and hurt, he was right there on the sideline, and he was rooting for the Raiders and everything. Sure, he wanted to play, but he knows he can't play, and I think he does. I think what made him it seemed like he was more of a dick is because of Josh McDaniels, because McDaniels made everybody, pissed everybody off. And I think with AP, I think he would be willing to work with him. And AP, if he looks at Josh Jacobs saying, you know what, I want to play, AP says, you know what, you're in. I think that could be it, but it'll be on a team-friendly deal. And I think there's a good chance. And if it's not, the smart thing to do would be to trade him. That would be the smart move. The dumb move would be to release him for nothing. I mean, it wouldn't be as bad as releasing Derek Carr. That was even dumber, But I would try to trade him. There are teams that would love to have Josh Jacobs. There are, and the Chargers are one of them, and we don't want that.
The real, what is it? Realist, I think, is the real estate stable. I don't know. Frickin' either way, yeah, Grandma is staying from what I've heard, and it's going to be something we're going to talk about here in a minute, anyways. And then Mr. Pucky Hucky, yo two over here on Instagram, man. He said, I think Josh wants to be a Raider, and I think he wants to play for AP. There are rumors of pursuing Saquon Barkley. I'd rather have JJ. What do you guys think about that? How would you feel if we went after Saquon over AP? And salute, James. Appreciate you, bro. Salute, Melky. Appreciate you, bro. And salute.
Okay.
Salute 64 cars. Salute FKN. Salute to everybody over there, man. Appreciate all you guys.
Okay, I'll be honest. I would rather keep Jacobs than go after Saquon. Saquon is 100 times more of a, as talented as he is. I mean, that dude, that as much as I said about Jacobs, like he bet on himself and stuff, Saquon is 100 times more selfish. Despite, because that coaching staff, nothing like Josh McDaniel's staff, it's more free and stuff. But Saquon, I mean, we remembered how crazy in the offseason was. Saquon said he wanted more than $20 million a year.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want Saquon.
I agree. Saquon Barkley, though, in his rookie year, he was like he was a Le'Veon Bell. He's a receiving back, but a big power back who can catch the ball. But remember, the Giants had a terrible O line, and he plowed through the O line, and got over 1,000 yards. But then, when you're a big guy and you take those hits like crazy, it pays. He's more injury prone than Josh Jacobs, and yeah, he wants more money because he wants insurance because he's not on a winning team. He's on a losing team. If you're on a losing team, you want more money. If you're on a winning team, you take less money. But right now, we want to look ourselves as an in-between team where we're not a winning team, but we're not a losing team either. And we want to be a team that's like ready to go to the playoffs. And I would take Jacobs over Saquon Barkley. I like Saquon Barkley. I did follow him before when he was in Penn State, and he reminded me exactly like Le'Veon Bell. But I think that if he had never went to the Giants and went to a team like the Saints or the Steelers or something, he would have had a much better career.
Yeah, I think Cook is over there in Baltimore, though, isn't he?
Yeah,
Didn't
Cook's
Baltimore sign him?
Cook got signed by Baltimore.
Yeah, that
Cook went to
fullback
Baltimore?
great. Yeah,
Wasn't he with
yeah.
the Jets?
Yeah,
Wasn't
they
he with the
released
Jets?
they released that
Holy
fool, and this
shit.
fool goes down with those fools. So he's like,
Oh,
yeah, let
man.
me go get a ring over here. Yeah, I thought that was crazy as hell.
That is a smart move.
I remember a funny,
Uh,
like a reporter asked Dalvin a question about like, is he gonna like try to like get more snaps with the Ravens and stuff? And then I remember Dalvin saying something funny like, "Dude, I'm old as hell. I'm trying not to get killed out here. Like, you want me to run like the ball 30 times a game?" But it was pretty funny. But what is the next topic?
it's gonna be basically this was Rudy's, but I'm gonna let you speak on it first because the only reason Rudy is because he had the information when it came out just now, right? So I mean, he can speak on it, but you can go about it, right? So I know it's your topic, but before we started, did you read about him wanting to stay or no? Just now before the show, what you Sergio, you said that the report came out about Patrick Graham, right?
Oh yeah, it's being reported that Graham's gonna be staying.
Yeah, so basically our topic was keeping Patrick Graham is extremely critical to keep, and then it is his, but I just wanted you to speak on it real quick because you had the report about it. I don't know if he has. If he has the report, he can speak about it, but if you don't, I'd like you to speak first then him. No?
Okay.
All right.
Oh wait, what? Okay. So yeah, it's expected that Patrick Graham is going to be staying with the Raiders. He was present at the press conference today, AP's head coaching press conference, and then it was reported inside the building that Patrick Graham will be remaining with the Raiders as defensive coordinator. I'm pretty sure the original report came from Vinny, whose last name I can never pronounce right, so I'll just say Vinny. Originally it came from. So it is pretty big news for us. Pretty big, good news. But anyway, I'll let Rudy have his point of the topic.
Yeah, I made that one, and then I finally found out that Patrick Graham's staying with us. it is extremely crucial to keep Patrick Graham because that defense is all his. It wasn't AP's, and AP was a part of Patrick Graham's staff. So he was like he was part of the package that became the head coach. And we all know now that Patrick Graham was being suffocated by Josh McDaniels, and he had a good defense even when in their first year in the preseason. The linebacker coverage looked really good, in the preseason. Then regular season we were looking like dog trash, and it turned out that it was Josh McDaniels holding back on Patrick Graham, and yeah, we need that defense, and then instead of him being on the sideline and him being up there, it helps him a lot more. He likes to be upstairs where he could see everything, rather than being downstairs. So, I think it's good to keep Patrick Graham. He's really needed, and he's the leader of that defense. And if you put all that on AP, he's going to really struggle. So he will keep AP on his toes so that he doesn't have to worry too much on the defense. He'll work a lot on that defense. So AP will be pretty balanced, and he'll be the motivator and the leader of the team and everything, And hopefully he'll learn to keep an eye on that clock. That's what I'm worried about with AP. But other than that, I think Patrick Graham is the guy that we must keep, and I'm glad we got him.
Heck yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I think Patrick Graham is 100% crucial to our team because he is the reason I feel like that team. I believe he was the mastermind behind that shit the whole time. I mean, that team picked up massively after reports came out that he said he was being held back by Josh McDaniels. The way that he had to call plays was restricted. The way Josh wanted it. I called bullshit at first, man, but it wasn't bullshit. It was real shit. So for me, at the end of the day, I hope Patrick Graham stays here because, like I said, there's still reports he can go. Unless in this one it is 100%. I'm just have to still wait. But you are 100% right. He was at the presser, and you got to think if you're not going to be there, I don't think you'd be in the building like he is. I think he was kind of like Champ, just, intriguing other deals, but I think he might think there's something real here. And I mean, for him to go to another team, maybe you don't like that team, maybe you don't like the way that it's structured, and maybe he has a real relationship with Max Crosby and all these dudes here. So, I mean, you never know, man. So I just think, like, I hope he's going to be the key to us winning, man, like for real. So, outside of that, it's going to be the offensive coordinator for sure. So, but outside of it, what do you think, Sergio?
I think it's really great because something crazy. I remember
Luke
before
Clark.
all of this got announced, like GM, head coach, coordinators. I remember in one of the lives you asked a question: could all three of these guys stay? And my answer was Patrick Graham, AP, and Kelly. Out of those three guys, no more than 2 out of 3 are staying. It could be Kelly and AP staying, but Graham leaves. It could be AP and Graham stays, but Kelly leaves. It could be Graham and Kelly stays, but AP leaves. And I stood by that. I'm like, it's going to be no more 2 out of 3. All 3 of them are here and staying. Just not with Kelly as the GM. So I will credit myself that I was kind of right. I'm still going to credit myself on that one. But yeah, it is crazy that all 3 of these guys are still here. And I would applaud Mark for somehow accomplishing that, keeping all 3 of the guys here.
How crucial do you think keeping Edgar Bennett here is?
Oh, that's super crucial, especially with him getting in. Some teams were interested in him on offensive play calling. I'm hoping no one picks him up because this year is very strange. There's not really that many teams looking for a defensive coordinator. Half of the league is looking for offensive coordinators because they're either getting fired, going to college, getting head coaching jobs. etc., etc. So I'm hoping no one picks up Edgar Bennett, and I'm hoping that the team just keeps him, because ever since we've had him, any wide receiver we've had, he's developed them to like the top level.
True. We've had a lot of success with them for sure. Rudy, how do you feel about him?
Feel about
Edgar Bennett. And salute to everybody coming into the chat, man. Salute to everybody that's come through on Instagram. Appreciate y'all, man.
Edgar Bennett, the coordinator.
The wide receiver coach that's on our team. Do you know?
Yeah, wide receiver coach. Yeah, the receivers. We have a good receiver core. I think he's still very crucial. The one thing I'm a little bit more concerned is the quarterback position, quarter coach. That especially with the quarterbacks we have right now, the roster we have right now with like Aiden O'Connell and Jimmy Garoppolo and Hoyer. I mean, there's two of them that need to definitely be gone. But I'd still look for a veteran and draft a quarterback. And I think Aiden, I think I think he's okay, but I don't. He's just not starting quarterback material. His arm is the one thing I don't like. He doesn't have a strong arm. He's got an average arm, and he's not a guy who will put the points up like a Derek Carr type. He can't keep up with Patty Mahomes. I mean, yeah, we beat the Chiefs, but that was all our defense and them being dumb. Like Patty Mahomes muffled the ball, and our defensive tackle, I think it was Artillery, got the ball and ran all the way to the end zone. I mean, that was their bad. The only turnover that was really for us was Jack Jones' interception. That was all on Jack Jones. He got that ball and earned it and everything. It was that he got in front of that receiver, took the ball away, and then just ran it all the way through. But we would have lost that game if it weren't for our defense, scoring 14 points and our offense only being able to get to field goal range with two field goals. And the Chiefs were a touchdown away of beating us, and we were lucky to win that game. And people think we're like super great because we beat the Chiefs. And I was like, no, Broncos beat them and they weren't super great, and my brother, I remember I was in Alaska when that happened. He's all like, looked at me as, Rudy, you're a jinx. My team lost because of you, a Raider fan, the thing was, though, yeah, Patty Mahomes was recovering from flu, and he had a solid swollen hand. And that swollen hand made it hard for him to grip that ball, which is why the Broncos were able to strip that ball easier from him, I saw his hand. It's pretty swollen, Patty Mahomes. But like I said, any team can win on any given Sunday, even the underdogs. You've seen teams that were expected to lose, like Green Bay beating the Cowboys. Nobody would ever thought that would happen. But or the Eagles losing to Tampa Bay. That was something. But other than that, though, I would say keep the wide receiver coach, but I would just really concentrate. If you want to keep the quarterback coach, if you still have, want to improve on, still use that, then, But yeah, Aiden, I think I wouldn't get rid of him. I think he's a cheap guy to keep for depth and maybe a backup quarterback. But facts are, you're either going to draft a quarterback and maybe get a veteran. I'd get an Andy Dalton or a Minshew, any of those guys, because those guys will develop on quarterbacks. They will. If you get a guy like
salute, Dave. Appreciate you.
Like Russell Wilson.
Elijah, appreciate you too, bro.
He's not going to. Russell Wilson's not going to mentor anybody. He's all for himself. So yeah. And Tyrod Taylor could mentor. I think he could. But if I was to also say this to guys who are Aiden O'Connell's fans, Aiden O'Connell is like, actually, he's not like, he's a little bit below a Drew Lock. Drew Lock was not very good as a quarterback for the Denver Donkeys, although he had a strong arm. But he could throw that ball a lot harder than Aiden O'Connell. But the problem with him was he threw a lot of interceptions, but but he had a solid arm where he could throw a deep ball, But I would say I would not keep him as a starter, though. I seriously wouldn't. I know he
Let him
likes.
fight for the backup.
I'd say fight for the backup. I don't think he's a bad kid. I think he's a good kid. I don't know about that stash thing. My brother made jokes about him being one of those what are the super troopers. They all got those stashes.
Yeah, Farva.
Yeah, yeah. I'd say with him, he's got to get rid of that stash. He just doesn't look right. That's what
So
he's got to do.
Elijah says over here on Instagram, he says Chiefs win was all on Pierce. How do you guys feel about that?
Pierce.
Sergio, how do you feel? How do you feel about it?
Say the question again.
He said Chiefs win was all on Pierce.
I'll give credit to Pierce a little bit, but I am going to give that credit to Graham. I mean, it was all defense. Pierce, I will give credit to. He definitely gave the team motivation and the mentality to get into the Chiefs' heads, especially Patrick Mahomes. Because Patrick Mahomes was just pissed the entire game, and I loved it. Especially how Pierce just let Jack Jones just shit talk on every Chiefs player imaginable. I loved it.
Facts. Freaking. So I think it was up here. Somebody said Leonard Williams. Before I forget, man, I had it marked and I took it off. How do you guys feel about that? Do you think Mark Breeze a beast, man? I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. Can you guys hear me?
Sorry, Dustin, your mic went weird.
Your mic's.
Oh man, my motherfucking deal because my system on my deal is updated. And I don't know if anyone said
Uh-oh. He might have got disconnected. Yeah. I also wanted to say about I know some Dave Green said that give Aiden O'Connell more time. There are quarterbacks in the draft right now that can be right now where Aiden O'Connell, he just doesn't have the arm strength. You got to have that arm strength if you're going to compete in the AFC West. He just doesn't have that, Okay, you're back.
Yeah, I can't remember what I was going to say too right there a second ago. What were we talking about a second ago? Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams. So, did any guys answer on that? How would you feel about going after him? Did we talk about that already?
I don't think we did.
But
all right. So we'll start with let's start with Sergio real quick, and then we'll go to you.
If we're talking about pursuing Leonard Williams, I wouldn't be against it. It would probably be depending what he would want in a contract deal. He is also pushing 30, and I don't know. He's not as impressive as he would be in his earlier days, but I don't know. I would rather us bet on someone else than Leonard Williams, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've said. I mean, I like the guy. I'm not gonna lie. It's just I've said the same thing. I mean, I want to go after guys that are young and up and coming, that are proven to be I'm not gonna say proven, but to say that they're proven to be on the up track, So, and it's probably one of the topics that we should bring up about yours here. So, I mean, does anybody have anything else that they want to talk about in this one, or no?
No, I'm good.
All right, so I think it was you that said it, wasn't it? Oh yeah, who we stealing from the Chargers?
Yeah, this is definitely a big one in my opinion that we're gonna get out of Tom. That I remember Dustin did say earlier is so because he is a Charger, and Jim is now the head coach. and there might be players with big names, little names that Jim might not want, or maybe Tom wants more. Who do we think that they're going to take? And now people are like making big rumors like, oh, is Khalil Mack going to come back? I don't think that's going to happen. But like,
Would you guys want it to? Like, would you say no?
No. As
I
much as I
think
would
too
like it, no.
expensive. I like his ability, but he would be too expensive. I mean, we'd be doing the same thing the Chargers did with Bosa and Mack. I think Kuntz is a good Mack type.
So what's Max getting paid right now?
I think he's getting paid about 24, 25 million a year.
24, 25?
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's be real. What was Chandler at? 17.5? I mean, are we going to get his contract back, or are we going to lose his contract? You know, like, how does that work there? So what I would think is like, what did Max get? 15.5 sacks, dude. I mean, giving him 20 million. I mean, would you give him 20 million and then ask him back? Like, if he said I'd come back and play for 20 million in Vegas, would you say no?
For 1 year?
Say again.
For like a 1 year contract, or?
Yeah, just bring him back. Bring him back 1 year, $20 million.
Man, I mean, a defense with Kuntz and Max on the edge, Khalil on the outside, Tyree in the middle. Dang, that's a pretty scary defense.
Max a big dude. He's 269, 6'3", 269.
Imagine you got Kuntz, Tyree, Max, and Khalil rushing at you at the same time.
There's gonna be a difference about Bosa versus Max Crosby. You know, there is gonna be.
Max is way better than Bosa.
Hell yeah, he is by a mile. By a mile.
If we ever got Joey on here, you know what's gonna happen if we got Joey? You know? Max is gonna remind Joe, yeah, I called you a bitch.
I mean, freaking. Pizzle says no thanks, I'll pass. Hey, I mean, like I said, everybody got it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a massive fucking Khalil Mack fan, bro. I've been from day one, dude. I mean, I look at him like Charles Woodson, bro. If that fool come back here to the Raiders, I'd be like, come on, motherfucker, like you can come back right this second, dude. Like 100%. I've always liked Mack from day one, dude. He's been one of my favorite players. I wish he would have never left, dude. And I mean, if he's getting 15.5 sacks last year, I mean, I don't see why I wouldn't bring him back. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I do agree. I agree. We do need a DT. I mean, that's the thing. So, like, outside of it, I mean, how do you feel, Rudy? Would you want to or not?
You know what? Personally, I'd love to have him, but he's a little expensive. But if you think about it in a strategy way, it keeps them away from being the Chargers, so we don't have to worry about Khalil Mack coming after our quarterback, whoever that is. But you know, I'd love to have him back, but we don't really need him that much because we do have Kuntz, who's a little cheaper, although he is much better than Kuntz. But I'd still prefer Kuntz though because he's younger and he's cheaper and everything. But if we got Khalil Mack, I would not be sad. I'd be pretty happy. That's with my heart, but financially, I think it'd be too expensive, though, for the Raiders.
So, Pizzle says DT in corner. I was just going to ask this before we move into that real quick is like, what happens if we had a chance to get Derwin James? Would you say no to that, or would you say yes to that?
I'd say yes to it.
That'd be a pretty good boost for our secondary.
He's a strong safety, you know. That you have him and Trevon Merrick together, that'd be a dangerous combo right there.
Hell yeah. It'd be a wreck your fucking life back there combo. So
the only downside to that, though, is his durability, though. He's been getting injured. That's the only downside. Yeah. That's the only downside, though. But yeah.
So you what?
I still wouldn't mind having God dang it! Now he got I forget, his mind got Derwin James. I wouldn't mind having Derwin James on the team, but yes, he does get hurt. It's because he hits guys. That's why he gets hurt because he's whacking people and everything. You know. That's why he gets hurt.
That is facts. That is facts. So who do you guys think would be the best option for DT for us? Do you guys have any at mind, or who do you think can be that guy we can go out and free agent or the draft and make him be like for sure the guy? You know what I mean?
I would think draft would be that TJ Sweat guy because of the massive size. He's a big 6'4", 365 guy. I mean, that guy will improve the run stop. That's where we desperately need a big gap defensive tackle. But he's probably more of a second round pick. We could, yeah, if we really want him, we would take him in the second round. But he's a big body guy. I mean, you get that big body guy. He's like a giant version of he's like a wider version of a Chester McLaughlin. But he would be a good guy to get. You know, since we lost a run-stopping defensive tackle that went to the Cowboys, what's his name? Dang it, it's in my head. Damn, and he was a good run stopper, not a good pass rusher, but he was a big body tackle. I forgot what that was.
Who are you talking about?
We had a defensive tackle that was a run stopper, and we let him go, and he ended up going to the Dallas Cowboys.
Jonathan Hankins.
Jonathan Hankins, yeah. But we need a big body gap guy like a Jonathan Hankins, you know, about 320 or bigger, you know, because the bigger that D line is, the harder it is for the teams to run in the middle, you know, because there's a lot of teams that like to run in the middle, and we've had trouble. We got linebackers, we can use them to concentrate on the outside, and when you got big linemen, they'll overpower the O linemen, and when they do that, then the running back has to go, oh, I have no blocks. He has to go outside, and linebackers come in and they stop the running back. So, yeah, I like the big guy. He's got to get up. I think we need at least two big 320-pound defensive tackles, both in the draft and free agency. That's how I'd look at it.
What do you think, Sergio?
When it comes to defensive tackle, the thing that sucks about this year when it comes to free agency is that a lot of the defensive tackles are like older, like the ones that you would like want to like, if you want them to be the starter and make an impact, they're like no less than 27 years old. Like a lot of them are 27, 28, 29, maybe over the age of 30. So it is going to be a little tough when it comes to that. I would rely on the draft a lot to try to keep building that defensive tackle room. I would like to retain the defensive tackles we had, especially Adam Butler. Adam Butler and John Jenkins, I would like us to keep.
Hell yeah, I would take Butler for sure. And if we can keep Jenkins, I want to be against it, but I would keep Butler for sure. For one, I would take Christian Wilkerson from Miami for sure. I'd grab that fool up, bring him over here as long as he ain't costing us 20+ mil, because that's probably what he'd probably want, you know. So how would you guys feel? I think they said Christian Wilkerson, and I think I seen the other one was Palomalu. How would you guys feel about them? Palomalu coming out over Epps and us picking up Christian Wilkerson.
Yeah, Christian Wilkins is going to be tough. His market value is like over 20 mil a year. That'll probably be what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
With Miami, he did pretty good this year. I mean, he had 9 sacks and I think 2 to 3 forced fumbles. But if he wants over 20 mil a year, I would rather invest on like a low risk, high reward. Palomalu, I would really like to see more Palomalu at the safety position. He is definitely, in my opinion, like the box safety that we could definitely utilize because it's been working out for him a lot last season whenever he was given the chance.
Yeah.
You said that it was go, Rudy?
Yeah, I was gonna say we really don't. We need is mostly. We do have a pass rushing tackles, mostly artillery. He's more of a pass rusher, the best pass rusher, defensive tackle, and then sometimes you can use Tyree Wilson as a nose tackle or a defensive tackle, even though he's mostly a defensive end. But I want a big gapping running guy. I don't want to go for a expensive pass rushing defensive tackle. I'm good on that. But if you have a balanced defensive tackle who could do both, that's a big body but can stop the run and he can pressure, then yeah, then I would take him. But if we're just going for a pure pass rushing defensive tackle, I would say I would pass and just draft a big body defensive tackle and maybe get a free agent big body defensive tackle, whoever that is. But if they're just a run stopping and they're rotational defensive tackle, like say we know the team's good, like say we're playing the Dallas Cowboys, they have a big O lineman, and then we got Tyree Wilson as a defensive tackle, but then it's like take him out and put the big gapping guys in because they'll plow Tyree Wilson with that big line. But you want to use Tyree Wilson as a tackle for the pass rush, but not run stopping. He will get plowed. So I would say, yeah, get a defensive tackle. Like try to get T. Vondre Sweat. He's from Texas, 6'4", 365 pounds. Or if you go up down in the draft, there's another guy that's pretty big. Let me see. It's McKinley Jackson from Texas A&M. He's 6'2" tall, 325 pounds. He's a big gapping guy. He'd be more of a run stopper with that big gapping body. They can overpower these offensive linemen. Those O linemen are over 320 plus pounds, but you got to have dog versus dog. You don't want a coyote going after a big dog. You need a big dog, and you got to go with big bodies. And our defensive tackles have been kind of small. They've been just barely over 300 pounds. And that's why we've been struggling on stopping the run because of our undersizement in the defensive tackle position. So we need to get bigger on the defensive tackle.
What do you feel about Paulo?
The safety?
Yeah.
I think he's you got to keep him now that Rod Teamer is going to likely be gone because of what happened to him getting arrested and all that other stuff. He's the guy you'll want to keep on special teams and be on depth, and he could be a rotational piece too. So I would say you definitely got to keep him. He's probably a cheaper pick to keep. I wouldn't get rid of him and go for somebody big, or else you're going to have trouble adding more pieces to the rest of the team. So I'd keep him. I think he can get better. I think he's a good. I like his height. He's like 6'4" or something. Even though he's a tall, lanky guy, but he would be great as a red zone safety, though. I think because of his tall height.
I like Paulo, man. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. At first, I didn't like him at all, dude. I was probably against him pretty much. But the more and more that he came on, dude, I mean, that guy, he started showing up all over, dude. So, I mean, again, that guy proved me wrong for sure. I mean, he's got great ball vision, ball hawking skills, dude. I mean, can get after a guy in the backfield. Paulo's got a lot of growth coming on our team for sure, man, especially with Patrick Graham. So, for me, I like Paulo a lot, man. I mean, the DT is just going to be tough because I think, like I said, I'll just kind of leave that up to Tom and all them, see where we kind of get once we get closer to the free agent point in the draft. I mean, I've said I think the DT has been the biggest problem within the Raiders, but I also believe that other outside corner is going to be very crucial. I mean, are you replacing a Meek? A lot of questions are going to be coming here in the next few weeks. So, again, I get, we'll save those topics for later on. Pretty much have maybe one or two topics left, and then bounce up out of here. But this one's yours. Is Jim Harbaugh becoming the new head coach of the Chargers, which he is the new head coach of the Chargers. So they have come out and say, I'm sure that they said he is signing as the Chargers.
Yeah, I said that that's a huge. It's really bad. I was hoping he would go to Atlanta or he would go to Michigan, and he was the golden ticket. He's a guy that, and he go into the Chargers, man. That's dangerous, and there's a lot of Raider fans that just need to be a little more educated. That hey, he's somebody you should definitely not take for granted. He's a very good head coach. He's a proven head coach, and if he goes to a team, when he goes to the Chargers, he's going to fix that team up. He might make this team a little more of a run and a little more balanced run and pass, because the Chargers were more of a passing team than a running team. They weren't great in running the ball at all, and he's the kind of guy with the play calling skills, because they had all the talent and skill, but it was the lack of play calling ability that's been a problem for the Chargers. Because remember, the Chargers went to the playoffs last year, instead of us, when we should have went to the playoffs. But yeah, it's going to be dangerous though with him. He's a good head coach. He's between him and Sean Payton, if I had to pick which one, they're probably close to being equal. But Jim Harbaugh, I think he's starting to little be more improved. He knows how to set up his staff and everything. I think that's where he has the advantage over both Andy Reid and Sean. And I don't know about Sean Payton, but mainly Andy Reid, because Andy Reid, when he loses some staff guys, he starts to show a little. He starts to decline a little bit. But I would say that it's not good for us, and unless it depends. Unless we could pull a rabbit out of our hat and somehow keep Jim Harbaugh from turning the Chargers into a Super Bowl team, because they could be dethroning the Chiefs. The Chiefs go number 2 and we go number 3. And can we go to the playoffs as the number 3 team in the AFC West? And we could possibly go 10-7. We could go 10-7 and be in the third and be third in our division and not make the playoffs, or go 9-8 and still play our best game and still be like third or even fourth place. And that could be a problem if Jim Harbaugh becomes the head coach of the Chargers, and I would sweat. And if someone says, "Oh, I'm not going to sweat on Jim Harbaugh," then you're a fool. I'm sorry. I would definitely sweat with Jim Harbaugh being the Chargers coach. But at the same time, though, right now, as Raider fans, we do have to concentrate on our own team to see where we need improvements with offense and defense. But at the end of the day, though, once those are done and dealt with, then we got to worry about Andy Reid, Sean Payton, and Jim Harbaugh. That's all I'm saying.
That's facts, dude. I mean, it's a dangerous deal that Harbaugh's going to go over there now, man. It ain't no joke, and you can't sleep on that guy. Everywhere he's ever gone, he's built great teams around him, great staff, great personnel. Him showing up into that Chargers team. I've said it, dude. Tom's built a great team over there. The coaching just sucked dick, dude. I mean, now you got a coach there, dude, that can wreck people's lives, man, literally. So, I mean, he literally showed him. He's bringing Jesse Mincer there, which I said he would do, because the kid is phenomenal at defense, man. And then he's going to bring his son there for special teams, dude. I mean, he's going to be bringing all these guys over there. So, like I said, it's a dangerous, dangerous tandem over there. I wish it was us for sure. Like in Pizzle, I heard smack shit the whole time. So, long story short, it is what it is. But I'll advocate it till even now. But it's over. We're not getting them for 5 years. That fool is done for 5 years. So outside of that, it sucks, but it is what it is. So now we got to compete against them for the next 5 years, and we better put up our best game. So what do you think, Sergio?
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, I'm definitely going to be worried. And I'm hoping this Antonio Pierce shit really works. And if it doesn't, I'm not going to put this on Mark that much. I'm going to put it on Raider Nation because this was Raider Nation's pick. As much as
Yep, and
Mark would want to say this was also his pick, I'm going to put the blame more on our own fan base than him on this one. Just because this was the guy that we had fans literally threatening Mark to hire AP. So if this one fails, I'm not going to put it on Mark that much.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree.
I'd still blame Mark Davis though, because if you're the owner, you've got to have, like I said, I'm gonna go with Scarface. The only thing that a good owner has is his balls, and he has no balls because he has to go by what he says and he says. No, you got to go by what you say, whether I or any of you disagree with Mark Davis. Al Davis had a set of balls and he did it his fucking way. He didn't give a shit who thought differently. You know, an owner has to have that mentality, and Mark Davis doesn't have that mentality. Yeah, sure, we're going to get pissed off at the owner, the head coach, but at the same time, though, Al Davis was well respected, very controversial, but well respected because he had the balls. You know, he had the balls to do what he did, and yeah, he made some mistakes. Al Davis did, but Mark Davis, he just doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. So he needs to do is get some GM or president or something who's going to take over the team for him, and he still be the owner. And he because he does not know how to be an owner. But so if we lose and do bad, number one, it's going to be Mark Davis. Then number two, it's going to be Antonio Pierce. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen though.
Yeah, that is facts. That is facts, man. Outside of it, I think we'll go to Sergio's last topic: Robinson versus Kingsberry. Said who's the best OC to help the team to be successful? You can answer it either way: Robinson and Kingsberry, or who's the most successful to help the best OC to help the team be successful.
Yeah. With this topic, I mean, we kind of answered it a little bit earlier. I mean, if we got Kingsbury,
we did, huh? When we were talking about it in the very beginning.
I mean, we can shift to something that we didn't talk about that we said was the new coach hirings.
Yeah, you're right, dude. And I forgot to put that up. So, yes, we'll talk about that, and then we're probably going to bounce because that'll be the last thing we have to talk about. All right, you can bring it up.
Okay. So then obviously the big news today, besides everything else, is we hired 2 new defensive back coaches. One of them being the new safety coach, and then one of them being the new defensive back coach. My guess is that I don't know if Jason Simmons is staying. He might be staying as the defensive pass game coordinator still. There hasn't been any news if he's gone or not. With these 2 hirings, though, I do really like it. I think these 2 were definitely a good sign for the new head coach, new regime, new whatever this is going to be. So one of them being Ricky Manning. He is the new DB coach. Manning said himself that they wouldn't let him leave the building. They wanted him to be part of the Raiders.
He was a little badass, too. He was a little badass with us.
Manning was a coach for the secondary for the Jets for 2 seasons. So he learned under Robert Saleh, and he also learned under Pete Corral for a while. He was also a player. He was a safety, I believe. He was drafted, I'm pretty sure, in 2003, I think. Uh, his last team that he played for was the Oakland Raiders in 2009. In his first 4 seasons, he produced 15 interceptions, 2 pick sixes, 2 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, and over 35 pass breakups. He had a career season high of 5 interceptions with the Chicago Bears in 2006. I'm pretty sure that was the same year Chicago went to the Super Bowl, but lost to the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, with Lovey
Nice.
Smith, yeah.
Now, the other hiring, Jair Alexander, we stole
I like
him.
him, man. I like him.
We stole him from the Steelers, which was
Yep.
a really good
I
one.
heard about that.
When he was originally with the Miami Dolphins from 2020 to 2022. During that time, the Dolphins had
DB coach, little baller.
arguably the most dangerous secondary in the league.
Yeah.
Like ball
With
hawk,
Mika Robinson and them.
and it was crazy. He was also said to be the most respected coach in the locker room.
Salute Hell and salute AJ and salute Lamb. Appreciate you guys.
And then when he joined the Steelers as a safety coach, the Steelers secondary became the most interception producing defense at the time. Minka Fitzpatrick led the team and the league with 6 interceptions.
Salute Ray.
And Mika was also given a first team All Pro with Alexander. Alexander was also said to be highly respected by the Steelers. I know a lot of big account Steeler fans that were kind of disappointed in seeing Alexander go. So I do think it was a really good job that we were able to take these two and boost the secondary.
No, heck yeah, I agree. Frickin', do you have anything you want to add to it, Rudy?
Yeah, I think it was a good idea to go after results more. The Steelers have always they've always had a lot of good DBs, whether it be corners, safeties, and they would come and go just like their wide receivers. But I don't think it's a bad move. And you got a guy like we also took a Steeler linebacker with Spillane. That was a great pick. And then I was watching YouTube with my dad. He was watching Steelers. I said, hey, that's our guy, Spillane. And and he played good. I mean, that was a great free agent signing of that. And it's good to have a DB coach from that Steeler area. I always like the AFC side spectrum. Like the AFC North is a good area to get defensive coaches or even players too. So I think it's a good move on the defense spectrum. But I like our defense spectrum. It looks a lot more improved. I think the only thing is we might have to replace some players that people like that like Amik Robertson. He's a likable guy, but I think he could be gone, and it's about his height, he's 5'8", 180 pounds, where tall receivers will catch the ball in front of him. He does better if he's in zone coverage than man coverage, because all the receivers have to do is they'll have a jump over him easily. But if he plays zone, he can build up momentum and knock the ball down. But we can't be playing zone defense all the time. You got to be able to play man and zone both. I like man defense because man defense takes away the play action on offense. Because when you're playing man, the corners don't look at the quarterbacks because they don't play zone. They're looking directly at the receivers, and they're not fooled by the quarterback's play action because they're still on their receivers. That's what's good on man. But I like the move. I think that I think our defense will probably look a lot better in the secondary this year than last year. And last year was a lot better than the year before, though. But I think we're going to have improvement in more interceptions, knockdowns, and everything. So we'll have to see.
Damn right, that secondary is going to be pretty ruthless, especially with the guys we picked up just now. And we still got a long ways to go offensively and defensively. So, Sergio, look, man, they all want to talk about it. So, what do you think, Robinson and Kingsbury? Just speak on a few minutes. We'll bounce up out of here.
Okay, in my personal opinion, as much as something personally, I always kept saying, give me a Niner or a Rams coach for the love of God. But if we are going to if we do want to continue with this trend for AP and we want this AP thing to work,
Crimpy,
Kingsbury
appreciate
is
it.
the best option. Especially if we want what AP said that he's envisioning, an offense where it is like what Kingsbury runs, an air raid offense where the quarterback will run around, throw deep passes. It's an it's a unpredictable offense. It adapts. It gives the players free will. It's a the route running is like second option for receivers. They can run the first option route or the second option route if they want to confuse the defense. So yeah, if like what AP said at the press conference today, if that's what he's envisioning, then Kingsbury would be Robinson or Kingsbury are the top two options. In my personal opinion, if you want the experience, Kingsbury would be the better option.
Yeah, no, I agree. Hundo. I'm all about Kingsbury, man. Bring his ass here. Let's go. Like, I'm all about it, dude. Like, I ain't messing around, dude. Like, I'm all about bringing him here and getting it going. So, if we can get Kingsbury over, I've said if we get Robinson another year and Kingsbury comes here, gets head coaching job, and we can sign Robinson next year, that's how I'd like to go with it. You know, that'd be the way I'd rather roll. So,
Kingsbury's
but
offenses have also benefited off of really good defenses. Like
yeah,
in those 2 years when JJ Watt and Chandler were killing it and that defense was top 10, his offense was exploding.
yep. And I mean, if we get him a better quarterback than Murray that can see over the line and throw and complete passes, you never know just how dangerous this guy's system can be. So, like I said, he can be most definite. He can most definitely be a great add to our team and a great add to our squad, especially for the offense. We suck at the offense, man. It hasn't been doing good, and that's facts, you know. So there's no denying it. But outside of it, if you guys don't have anything else you guys want to talk about, we're gonna bounce up out of here, man.
I'm good.
Me too.
Yeah, all right, man. Appreciate all you guys showing up tonight. Appreciate everybody on Instagram. I mean, damn, we had hell of people come through Instagram. Shit's insane. Really do appreciate everybody that did come through there. Really do appreciate everybody that came through here tonight and YouTube, man. Appreciate everybody that's in all the mods in the chat, all the people in the chat, and all the people on the panel tonight, man. Really do appreciate you guys. Really do appreciate the feedback and the conversation back and forth. That way we were able to interact with you guys. It was a great show because of you guys, man. Just remember that. All the conversations you threw out there, all the interaction that we were able to have, it was all because of you guys, man. So really do appreciate it. We're going to try to keep doing this going forward. Try to get used to this laptop and everything so we can bring more and more stuff up on the StreamYard, show you guys more videos, clips, our Discord, things of stuff like that. So long story short, man, I hope you guys have a great night. Really do appreciate you guys stopping by. Don't drink and drive. And until then, man, you guys have anything you want to add or say before we bounce out?
Go Raiders.
And this is going to be a very exciting or very interesting offseason. And just win, baby, for the love of God.
Hell yeah, man. That's facts, dude. It's going to be crazy. And I always said I love off seasons because we get new coaches, we get new players, we get all shit. So I'm like, hell yeah, it's like in the candy store. We just need that shit to pop up when we start out next year. So outside of that, hey, let's just wait until well, I think we're gonna do a show Saturday, and then I think we're gonna switch our shows to just Wednesdays and Saturdays going forward. But we got to figure out Saturday time, Saturday show. So we'll see. I mean, I don't think going 3 times a week here, pretty much, it's just getting too much, especially season's over. And then conversation, like I said, I keep saying it's just going to keep running down. So outside of it, I think we're going to try to go Wednesdays, Saturdays from here on out, and then go from there. We might change our Saturday, figure something else out. But long story short, man, we really do appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have a great night. Until then, Raider Nation for life, baby, and we'll see you on the next one, man.
Later, everyone.